What do you guys think of that?
The trailer?
Yeah.
It's cool. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not really a huge fan, to be honest.
Yeah. All right, Mehdi, why are you not a huge fan? Me personally, I agree with the Tate brothers. I can't believe that we have a game that celebrates shooting cops. That's disgusting. I mean, nothing like the Tate brothers who borderline try to pass as GTA characters, telling everyone else that we shouldn't be shooting cops. So
wait, there's more than one Tate?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're twins.
Like the guys that
the guys that were doing sex trafficking in Romania.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
like what's their catchphrase, their slogan? Like, what if you're a something man? What is it?
The top G's?
Yeah, top G's, that's what it was.
Top G.
Do people still talk about Andrew Tate in 2023?
I think he's kind of. That's why I think he spoke out against GTA 6. It's like you have to say something to like get back on people's radar. I had forgotten about them, and I was like, oh shit, they're out of prison. Like that was kind of crazy.
They're under house arrest right now. That's as far as I remember.
Okay, there was a really funny take. There were people like this always happens when these games come around. Like so, the trailer drops, and I saw this thread, and it was just like, dude, I swear people on Twitter aren't real. Actually, Twitter and like all the Twitter verification and blue shit that like puts people's comments higher has convinced me that we should speed up AI cars and like AI driving, because like I'm reminded every day that when I'm on Twitter and I see these people typing, I'm like, holy shit, these people can drive, and that terrifies me. Anyways, there are people who are just like, video game industry can't believe it once again. Look at they're just trying to push diversity on us. Like, why are there all these like black people on the beach? And I'm like, holy shit, you've never been to Florida. Like it was just
hold up. What? That was an actual thing,
bro. There were people unironically mad about that. Yeah, I mean there always are, right? They're
always going to be those kind of people. It's just to me, they'll always be the minority, and it's just they're always the loudest. So that's why they get the most attention, because they say some bizarre, against.
It's like against the grain kind of takes,
Yeah, exactly, right? But some people do it on purpose, though. Some people like that. That's their brand. That's who they are. They just they want the reaction, right? They say things to get a reaction.
I mean, it's also like there's just a broader kind of piece of content that is like the craziest shit gets views and kind of works. This is totally unrelated to GTA 6. Did you guys see the high speed chase that was live streamed?
No.
Which one?
No. This is where it's gonna get crazy. Okay, we've all been. I know you guys have been streaming, and like some of your chat, like, yo, there's a chase going on in LA, right? And then you can fucking watch it from the news camera,
right?
And I've always been like, what if someone was like streaming from the fucking car? Someone streamed from the car.
Oh, no. You're talking about like an actual Twitch streamer was streaming in a chase.
Yes, there was an actual. Does someone have a?
Let me get that check mark now. Watch me.
Dude, it actually happened. Someone said it was a Kick streamer. Okay, that's like... actually, weirdly enough, I think it was a Twitch streamer. It might have been a Kick streamer. I don't know. But no, there was actually a... I saw this on... I saw it on Twitter. I don't know what app they were streaming. They were clearly streaming. There's fucking chat going in the corner, and these guys are in a car fucking like highway blasting away from cops. They got away, too.
That is crazy.
Yeah, but they left a valuable evidence.
Hard on that.
Did I say twatter? No way. Please tell me.
No, you said Twitch.
I said, oh God.
Twitter?
What? I really hope I didn't. I have both chats pulled up. I'm scared. I did. Fuck. God, that's how you know I'm RPing again, man. I've got the itch. That's not good. No, but yeah, it was a real thing. They were like in the backseat of their car, and it was like some GTA-esque shit of them driving away from the cops, highway blasting, and they got away. But I'm also like, dude, like the cops can just find, like, you were streaming that, man. Like, they're just gonna know, right? Like, isn't that, I don't know. Anyways, people are just live streaming kind of crazy shit, which was kind of shown in the GTA 6 trailer, like all the like live stream stuff going on. I kind of like their take. I feel like they're gonna have a really good take on like social media and live streaming, just from what they teased in the trailer.
Well, what's gonna happen is the locals are gonna record you when you do crime and upload it to social media. That's what I think.
Oh, that would actually
that's what I
be really
think. Okay.
dope.
Because that explains why you
Dude.
see. Because if you go in one of the trailers, right, and you see Lucia, I think that's her name, right, and she's
Yeah.
kind of celebrating the car, the convertible one, and then there's an AI, or sorry, there's a local filming her doing that, basically.
Dude. Wait, that's actually so smart.
Yeah. And that way you can just integrate social media into the locals being part of it.
That would be really cool. I can imagine like doing a mission or just like randomly, like, I don't know, like robbing a store and, you know, a little bit later you get like a notification on your in-game phone and there's like, you've been tagged, yo, dude, so-and-so just like robbed this thing. And you just see like a little GIF of that moment just in the background.
And you're like, oh, fuck, that was me. That's actually sick. Oh my God, you're actually gonna have to wear it. Wow, you probably have to mask up then. Jesus. Damn, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I never played GTA 5, so I mean, other than RP. So I mean, the whole thing with GTA 6, like, it's cool. I can't wait to see what comes out of it. But I never even played GTA 5, so.
Wait, so I was trolling and saying it looks okay. Wait, do you actually were you not trolling, Trav?
Me, I know. It looks fun. I mean, I was showing my girlfriend the other night like how sick everything looks. But I mean, as far as some of the scenes were just like you have that one crazy old lady. I mean, I was like, fuck, is that real? I mean, there's shit where I'm like, and
everything you see in the game is by Rockstar editor. That everything's made in game. None of it is like enhanced.
I know that. It was more like, it's like, oh fuck, that's really. I know it's a video game, but I was like, for a second, I was like questioning it.
I mean, we're getting to that stage right now, right? I mean, somebody even made it even more real with AI. Like they took the trailer.
It looked like I literally tweeted about that, Ssaab, and it looked like shit. Bro,
Wait, what?
Yeah, dude. Oh,
no,
dude, I'll pull it up.
No. Which one did you see? Because the one I saw,
these AI Andes will like take something like that and like, oh look, we enhanced it and made it look even more real. And I'm like, cool, you just entered the fucking uncanny valley, and now it looks like I'm gonna be honest, I don't really want to play a photorealistic game. In fact, something I praise Rockstar for. I think Rockstar has done one of the best jobs of making their games kind of more and more realistic over the years. And the way I saw GTA, it looks realistic, but it still looks like GTA. It still has a little bit of style with it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why they never go for full-blown realism, right? In GTA games, because they have their little niche style of graphics that that's a Rockstar game.
My real take on GTA 6, bro, the moment that thing dropped, and look, I was doing a sponsor spot with my brother, and it was like we had an hour left, and all of a sudden the chats are getting spammed. Like, dude, the thing is leaking. We're like both like, oh, dude, should we like, can we? And then we just said, fuck it. The moment that trailer began to play, I felt like my heart drop. Like it was nostalgia just hitting me. Like remembering back when GTA 5 first hit the scene and waiting at GameStop for like a copy, because that's what you had to do. And it was like each and every scene just told me, I cannot wait for this. Be it like the huge environment down to just seeing like the amount of peds that are walking around. Like it's I can't wait 2 years. I can't. It's gonna be a tough wait, man.
Well, what do you think the time frame is on from that going to? So, did they confirm that it's coming out at a different time for PC?
Oh, guys, I got the date, by the way, for you if you guys want. Well, I don't know the PC date, but you guys ready for my theory crafting on the date?
Yeah.
All right. Publicly released Take-Two like earnings statement or investor meeting, whatever, because they're publicly traded, right? They confirmed that it's going to be fiscal year 2025. Okay, so that means it can't be Q4. So it's not going to be late Q5 or late 2024.
Oh,
yeah. So we know it's before Q4 of 2025. Now hear me out. The big times to drop would be, I think, Q4, before the holidays, or Q2. Here's my take. They're going to go for like a spring, early summer drop because it's it's based around, right? Like Miami, Florida, sunshine vibes, spring break. Everyone goes to fucking Miami for spring break. I'm telling you, we got like an April or May launch. Boom.
I think you're right. I put my money on it. I second that as well too. For sure, because it has to. It's all about timing, right? It can't be too early. It can't be too late. It has to be that sweet spot in the middle.
I like that too because isn't that what GTA 5 and Red Dead 2 came out? Didn't they come out like
no, that was Red Dead.
Or am I wrong?
That was Red Dead. GTA came out in September.
Oh, it did. Okay.
All right.
Either way, that implies the PC probably is going to be 6 months to a year later, which kind of is unfortunate, but
okay.
And then from an RP perspective as well, think about how long it's going to take someone to build a 5M server, or actually just a framework for.
Well,
I guess it would be 6M.
Okay, here's the molten hot take here. Ssaab knows this. Like, listen, guys, we can't look at the GTA 6 release like the GTA 5 release in terms of timeline for online and then RP, because it's, you know, we're 10 years in the future, and I mean, maybe we would think that, but Rockstar buying 5M tells me that, you know, for all I know, they want to be able to launch what is the 6M or whatever the case may be. They want to probably drop that with online. I think that's. I think if not with online, at least way earlier.
I mean, think about everybody was complaining about Rockstar buying 5M, and I'm sure there'll be some things that will come up. People complain about, but the bridge is already built between 5M and Rockstar before GTA 6 was announced or came out, right? So, which is good news. I mean, going to the future, we don't have that uncertainty. We got actually something that's connected to it, and then maybe they can bring it into 6.
Yeah. The other thing is, the other thing is, I think people. It's weird. I had debates with my chat. I mean, even the chatters now are being like, "What? No way." I don't think people are considering the future that Rockstar may or may not see, but I think like a lot of game devs kind of see, right? Like a lot of game devs are looking at Epic and what Epic's done with Fortnite, or they're looking at Roblox, or they're looking at any of the other sort of like gaming ecosystems. And end of the day, like I think that if you think Rockstar is going to do the same formula for GTA 5 to online to eventually roleplay, I think you're sorely mistaken. I think they looked at GTA 5 and they saw the success. Obviously, they're like, and again, it's like their initial game is going to be godly successful, right? But I think they're probably thinking of this as a bigger venture, and they're probably looking at online spaces, RP spaces, people creating games within, the GTA 6 engine. They're probably thinking about that for like the 10 years after the game launches.
Yeah, I definitely like the comparison to Fortnite. I mean, you got the Fortnite Lego coming out, and it might seem ridiculous, but the amount of longevity that creates between each and every season they drop and whatnot, that's just a smart business model. And when Rockstar can create such like vibrant, big worlds, if there are systems that they put in place that go beyond just the driving and the shooting and whatnot, there's a lot that can be done there. And I think with CFX now being owned by Rockstar, them taking the expertise that CFX must have, right? About how their user base and likes to use their tools, and applies that natively, and you just send that out to the community, and you're like, create whatever you want. You could end up with some very vibrant VRs, role play servers, different twists of things.
It's about to be insane.
I think that I'd be surprised if it becomes a day one thing, mostly because I'm leaning on the skeptical side, so I'm excited if it drops day one, but not disappointed if it doesn't. If that kind of makes sense.
Wait, are we talking about? We're talking about like the role play world, right?
We're talking about 5M.
Yeah, there's no way it drops
basically.
day one, because you got to think about assets and stuff being coded for each individual server. I'm sure they'll incorporate some kind of like basic whatever for for the sake of role playing, but overall, like, think about all the work that goes into like NoPixel and all that. And it's like, that's not going to be, there's no way they release the engine early. The developers even, I don't think, you know what I mean? Because what's to say like a random 5M developer doesn't leak stuff from the game? If they already want that.
Well, I mean,
it would probably It would probably be like a year or two afterwards, I would imagine, right?
Well, what they could do is the game launches and then they give access to those tools to the developers, right? Like so,
exactly.
So I mean, if I'm like predicting a timeline, and by the way, like low key, I actually kind of like this. Like, there's a world where like if GTA 6 launched on PS5, Xbox, PC day one, had online day one, and had like fully fleshed out RP servers day one, I actually wouldn't like that. I'd be overwhelmed. I'd lose my mind. I actually kind of like if they drop it, at least on like the way I figure is like console's going to be like, that's the story sandbox, right? Which is an incredible experience. Like that's worth it. Right. And
right,
then
the single player, yeah.
Right. The single player is going to be incredible. And then I think they'll, I don't know fully the order, but I expect when they drop PC, they'll probably have something cooked up, at least if not ready, at least like announced for how they want to do custom servers. I'm just saying, like, you don't buy FiveM for nothing. Like,
well, that's interesting.
1,000%.
Because I have a whole theory on that as well. Is the it wasn't the CEO, it was somebody talking about why they acquired it, and they said that the consumer. Was it the CEO? He was talking about, he was like, he was basically saying, God, I can't remember his exact words, but he was saying that the kind of like the viewer of the RP world is the product at that point. So if that's the case, then what I think they're gonna do from a theoretical standpoint, I think they'll do something like dynamic ads in the video game and sell ad space within fucking GTA. You know,
bro, that's
how else. Like if the viewer of the RP world is that's their product at this point, then how are they gonna make money from that? Like, what's their point? So it's like,
right, but here's what they're gonna do, right? They're gonna turn GTA 6 into the most immersive Second Life experience in the world, where it's almost like gonna be like VR chat, but GTA 6, where you live in that world and the world revolves and updates and it's constantly modern and there's so much social media in it built into it. We can talk to other people, so you don't have to ever leave that world to interact with other people. It's all in there.
But I'm talking about
into a simulation.
FiveM, but I'm talking about the reason why they acquired FiveM, not GTA, which the CEO specifically said.
No. I'm saying it's going to be designed that way to even when you go to FiveM, you can just apply the same kind of principles, right? That's what roleplay is, right?
Yeah, and I mean,
right, but how do you? Okay, so you have to think from the perspective of Rockstar as well. They're not going to acquire something that isn't going to financially benefit them. So
right. So what is I'm sure they'll start charging on maybe a subscription for having FiveM.
No, but that's what I'm saying is the CEO didn't say anything about the people on FiveM. He was talking about the viewer being the product. The viewers of the RP community are the product instead
I agree with Trav.
So him saying that makes me think that they'll have, like, imagine billboards, right? That they have in GTA 6. And now they have they work with real life companies, like let's say Sprite or some shit, you know what I mean? And they're like, hey, we'll give you a spot on this billboard for.
Gotcha. I see what you're saying. I mean, I can see that. I mean, there's so much potential, right?
Yeah.
So for everyone's benefit, it says, I pulled up the article. It says, responding to a question by a shareholder about the possibilities opened by the acquisition of the CEO, explained that the absorption of CFX.RE was interesting in two ways, as it brought different communities under the company's wing. Number one, the people actually playing in roleplay servers, and number two, the people watching what they're doing on Twitch, which makes sense. Which definitely makes sense. I mean,
finally we get recognized.
I think the watching one is way more important.
Yeah, absolutely, because think about how many people play FiveM versus how many people actually watch it.
If I could monetize the amount of like actual role players, I mean, relative to other games, it's not that big, right?
The current population of FiveM right now is 240,000 concurrent, right?
How many people you think? By the way, that's actually not bad. Like, that's still a pretty sizable population.
250,000 concurrent is not bad, actually. What do you think is the viewership watching FiveM?
Insane. It's actually
really
put
funny. A number on it.
It's really funny. There's this dude who's I'm gonna get one guy by this dude in my chat who seems to be going back and forth, but he was even like, oh my god, like RP is really niche. Like no one no. RP is not niche. It is the most watched thing on Twitch outside of just chatting. And if you don't believe me, you can literally pull up the stats for like GTA 5, and it still is. Even now, it is the most watched thing on stream. Granted, I'm saying it's the GTA category. Dude, I learned about this. There's crazy viewership from Japanese servers. Apparently, there's a massive Japanese RP scene, and it's not really something you can argue with. There's literally stats. If you pull up viewership from the last couple years, even when even in 2023, when people have said RP is mellowed out, it's still the most watched category. I'm pretty sure.
And I think even if you were to look at it from the perspective of it's niche relative to the entire GTA community, which means anyone that purchased a copy and played it, it still plays a role for active exposure, because there will still be individuals who, are going to think about, are they going to buy a game, right? They may come across a stream on Twitch, which is marketing games too, right? Like a new title came out, the Days Gone. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Like people are going to click on the title and be like, yo, what is this? Oh, this is cool. Am I going to buy it or not buy it? And there will be customers who come to the site, watch someone streaming, whether it's roleplay or the online, and then make a decision based on that. But I think the conversation, my understanding, is talking about advertising potentially other products through the game world, which then gets viewed by 250,000 people on Twitch.
Yo, Mod, someone in the chat said,
can we ban Coil?
Yeah, can we ban that guy from the chat? Thanks.
Can we get this guy out of here, please? Thank you.
No, but what's interesting is okay, I am gonna get one guide by this guy. Chris in DC said RP is so niche, we just live in it every day. You can't just write that after I literally just gave you the stats that it's the most viewed category on Twitch.
I think he's memeing on you. That's one of my mods. One of Penta mods too. One of Penta's main mods and my mod.
Oh,
you're getting trolled.
You're getting one guide by some guy that's literally doing it as a joke.
That's funny.
That's classic me. I mean, honestly, that's like a bingo card for me for a stream. Anyways, no, but so remember when Adidas tried to do something with NoPixel, right? And
no, it wasn't NoPixel. It was
G Sports.
G2. Yeah.
And there's the G2 streamers in NoPixel, which actually at the time I think I was one of. But so here's the thing though. In the future, couldn't Adidas go to say Prodigy or Onyx or NoPixel and make, yo, we want to do an activation in your server?
No, you're missing a step though. You're missing a step. They would go to Rockstar. Rockstar would go to the other people.
Yeah.
Well,
that's how it would work. At least that's how I think it would work.
The step could go, it could go any way. Adidas might actually go to NoPixel and say, hey, we have this offer for you. And then what happens is NoPixel says, yeah, we want that. And then NoPixel might get money from some deal with them. But then NoPixel.
But what if sorry.
But what if Rockstar is like, yeah, that's cool. We'll take our cut. Thank you.
Yeah, right, but that makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, there'll be so many shitty deals going on though if that happens. It has to be. Brother, what do you mean why?
That's just advertising. That's how streamers get advertised. I'm streaming for Mountain Dew later tonight. It's the same idea.
It has to be
they're paying for your viewership.
Right, but it gets wild though. It has to be done in a systematic way to where Rockstar has to be at the top and then it feeds at the bottom, right? Or else it gets wild because people will have shady deals and then they'll probably lie and then just have some shit happen on the server, right? And then it'll turn to fucking just chaos.
So it might go that direction. It might be that Adidas talks to Rockstar and then Rockstar offers it to servers if they're interested.
Yeah,
and maybe that's a way servers can start earning revenue, right? We've been talking about this. How are servers supposed to be earning revenues besides whitelist applications, besides paying for prio, right? Maybe that's a future where it's like, hey, now that advertisers can be in on it,
I mean, Rockstar is big enough, and that to the extent that if something like that were to come into play, right, where servers were directly contacted, they probably would have an avenue set up where there is some level of curation, right? Some level of sign off where things aren't sort of done haphazardly. But to the same point, nothing stops Rockstar from offering out to all their server customers, at a click of a button, hey, do you want to add these Adidas shoes to your server this week? Plus X amount of money, right?
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, that sounds insane if that happens. That sounds insane. Think about that, right? Think about the potential behind that, right? Not only you got licensing happening in game, but also advertising is going out to everybody, the players who are using it, and the viewers watching.
Yeah. And I think the viewers is going to be like a really big question. I mean, again, because like, and this is why whenever I look at like how Rockstar, I would be against all this. I think them buying 5mm CFX just tells me that they're future thinking about this, right? I just don't like when people are like projecting the same ideas that were in 2013 when GTA 5 came out to today. We're in a totally different ecosystem, right? Like honestly, one of the biggest things besides
in a decade.
Besides just the product being built or being bought is everyone cares about eyes and viewership, right? The biggest competition to Twitch is, I'm sorry to Kick, but it's actually not Kick, right? The biggest competition to Twitch is probably TikTok or YouTube, right? It's the idea
YouTube,
that it's that if I'm a Twitch viewer, I might go and just get distracted on my phone and start browsing TikTok. I might go and watch, you know, a YouTube video, right? Like that's actually their biggest those are their biggest competitions, right? It's not necessarily the direct competitor. It's whatever could just take attention away from you. So again, with all that in mind, if people are watching GTA streams, if GTA 6 is not only one of the most played games, but is also one of the most watched games, they might be looking at ways to be like, hey, how can we get a cut of that, right? Who knows?
I can definitely see that happening. You want the doomed take too, which I don't think is going to
let me hear this.
What is the doomer take though?
The doomer take is, well, when you own the only platform that allows for the modification and you have full reign and absolute control of it.
Power,
what does that mean for us? What does that mean? You know, we own it now. You know what? We don't think this is a good idea anymore. Here's the red button. I don't think that's going to happen, but you know, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of barriers are going to come over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I know the doomer take exists. I'm actually I am very like positive. I have a super positive outlook for not only the RP space, but just like the two ecosystems that if I could just bet money on and just doing really well over the next 5 years, maybe even decade, is GTA and like RP or just custom servers in GTA. I think those two will go crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, GTA 6 will be the first game in a long time on Twitch we've seen where everybody is playing it. You look on your left, channels follow, everybody's playing GTA 6. It's just down the list. It's gonna be lockdown launch for sure.
I feel like it's almost like if Fortnite launched today and we launched and we knew it was going to be as big as it was, right? Because Fortnite was a steady growth to get to where it was, or League of Legends was a steady growth to get to where it was, right? Like I think GTA 6 will be that on day one and bigger.
I mean, it has a reputation. It has a history, right?
Yeah.
It's already made, but it's getting bigger now.
Yeah, and this is, dude, this is why, oh my God. I told my chat this story before. I had to do like this, I can't like leak exactly what it was, but I did a consulting thing. It was for a beauty company. Don't ask what it was, but they were talking about the metaverse. They want to talk about like beauty products in the metaverse, right? And like, and people from Meta came up there, like from Facebook, and they're like, oh my God, like we're doing this great. And like they like pitched their whole thing, and I came up after them like, yo, whatever they said, that's bullshit. The metaverse is right now Roblox, Fortnite, and GTA 5, and probably GTA 6 in the future. Like those are going to be like the actual like metaverses that people spend their time in. No one wants to fucking spend time in Mark Zuckerberg's weird like hyper realistic bullshit, right? Like
have you seen that? It is insane though. They did a little interview, or I forgot what they did exactly, but
I used to work on PlayStation VR, Ssaab. Let me tell you something. VR fucking sucks. The stupid Apple headsets that are coming out. Oh, but what about AR? No, it all sucks. I'm going to be honest. No one wants to have that shit on their head all like for that long. I enjoy VR. I like playing some of the VR games. I'll play them for like an hour. To me, a VR game is like going, do you know what VR is? VR is like a roller coaster at an amusement park. I'm like, damn, that was a fun roller coaster. But I'm not gonna sit on a roller coaster for 9 hours of the day I'm gonna vomit and feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry. That's the truth of VR. And everyone is saying, oh no, VR is about to go crazy. People have been saying VR is about to go crazy for the last 20 years.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
It's just
that
the
like Nintendo
augmentation,
VR
man.
came out, bro.
It's just, I don't know, man.
Man, do you remember when fucking Virtual Game Boy came out, bro?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Fucking, oh my god, dude, the Mario Tennis VR is so real.
Yeah, I mean, like it speaks volumes that the thing that has most of our attention in today's day and age is us holding a phone that we watch vertical videos in and not even like landscape videos in. It's crazy.
I think there's another aspect to touch on this. Why did they buy CFX and whatnot, which is this might be a bit of a hot take. Rockstar doesn't really make very good online games, in my opinion. I mean, Red Dead 2 online, like, bruh, like, what did you do in that? You go like kill a couple things and you like, go and skin them.
I can't believe you can't rob banks. You can't rob banks.
Yeah, you can't do a lot. Now, is it popular? Yes, but popular doesn't necessarily mean good. And I think at some level, even Rockstar probably self-realizes this and is like, well, if we compare the mechanics that we've created in-house with what a lot of roleplay servers have done, they've done a hell of a better job. So by buying this tool and creating, like you were saying, a open space for independent developers to create their own creations in their world, more people are going to go play that. Not everyone that plays on a role play server does it to stream like we do, right? That I think is a very narrow-minded way for us to accidentally fall into. There's a lot of people that like to jump onto these servers and be like, yo, I want to hang out with my friends and go rob a bank and get chased by cops or do all these
there's people that get on World of Warcraft to roleplay.
Sorry, dude, I was even thinking like this was crazy. I had to your point, by the way, great point, Mehdi. We did a sponsor for it was a movie. It's called Ambulance, where the Michael Bay movie, they rob a bank in LA and they get away in an ambulance, whatever. And we played, I think it was on GTA Online. We played some like scuffed game mode, kind of like a version of it where like you go and like rob the vault and then AI police chase after you. It was super whatever. But before that, I was on NoPixel and me and Tony actually recreated the ambulance heist in NoPixel. We just fucking robbed a bank and did like their getaway. And we had cops. We had this ambulance going through the canals, Air One chasing us, cops behind us. We sent it into the water. It was really fucking cool. And maybe like, damn, what if you could like, this is funny, but like, what if you could queue up like, imagine if there was literally a mode, like a game mode where you queued up as like robbers versus cops for like a
RP series, basically, right? Yeah,
RP series. That would be sick, dude. Like, and so like, and I think what I've experienced, I mean, besides the like, obviously being good for like our viewership and our careers as RP streamers, but like just as a gamer, what I experienced in NoPixel 3.0, now it's coming to its end, it was some of the best gameplay. Like that was like God tier. Like it was basically the best MMO I could play, right? So to Mehdi's point, if you're like, hey, we're Rockstar, we make literally the best single player sandbox experience. And now we can give these tools to people to then create that into the best multiplayer online experiences, whether it be RP, whether it be game modes. I mean, that's like, that's having your cake and the whole fucking bakery, right? Like that's crazy.
I'm with you 1,000%. I mean, the game mode that you just described, like, it's almost like a payday lobby, right? Except with real players and more intent behind it. And the reality is, could they go and invest dev cycles to go and create this thing? Or do you give it out to all these thousands of creative developers and
people that love that shit? Passionate people make a lot of, cool things, and when people put their heart into a project, it really comes out very successful.
Bro, that's what Epic did. I mean, more people played Fortnite Only Up than played the original Only Up. That's crazy, right? Because
and even before that, Counter-Strike.
Yeah, CS:GO was popular for that. Yeah, exactly right.
It's DayZ, right?
I mean, going way back. I mean, that's
Arma
how Dota
2 as well.
That's how Dota came about. Damn.
Minecraft. Yeah, I mean, list goes on, right? When you give people the ability to mod things, it's a lot easier for the community to get behind the project and support something, and you really create something together, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Bro, now I'm even more
100,000%.
excited for GTA 6. Just like this conversation, just the endless
I
possibilities.
know. Just
It's the next 10 years of our lives. That's what I'm coming to the realization.
How about this? How about the fact that people are saying that the story is going to be backwards?
That's what I was thinking too.
Oh,
You're
I
going to
saw
get
that.
end game, and then you're going to go back to the beginning.
Oh, I mean, but I've mentioned this. I randomly have said this before on like my streams. Some people are like, what the fuck is that? That's like that's a classic video game thing. I mean, they did that in GTA 5, right? You start, it's some, I don't know. You start in like this point where like you tease off the end game, or like tease off, not the end game, but kind of like the mid game. They do this in RPGs all the time. You're like playing, I don't know, the guy's brother or his dad, and you're fighting the fucking war, and then he fights the boss, and you have all these cool powers, and then he gets killed. And then you wake up and you're like the brother or the son or the daughter, whatever, and you're like a shitter and you have none of those skills. And then you have to progress back to that point. I feel like that happens all the time.
Yeah, but I feel like it'd be easier to start at prison, and then that's your introduction, because you could teach all the introduction of any mechanics for any game, right? And then we finally get to see an actual prison designed by Rockstar that has mechanics in it, because GTA 5 was bare bone, right? It barely had anything in there. 6 now, you start in prison. I mean, that's where the meat and potatoes are going to be, right? So it's going to be very fucking good.
Yeah, but I think they'll like literally start if that's the case, they'll literally start the game with you in a fucking like car chase from a robbery gone bad or some shit. And then you go to prison.
Oh, true. Yeah, you're right. Maybe
that was the way they started GTA 5, right? Was they started with you doing a heist, and then you get away, and then you start with all the kind of like bullshit, like dude, technically your first bit in GTA 5 is you have a fucking AR and you're gunning down cops leaving a fucking bank, and it's kind of crazy.
That's why Elon Musk never played it.
Yeah, I saw that tweet, man. That's crazy. There's probably going to be a lot of the it's with it happened with Mortal Kombat. It's happened with every GTA, right? Where too much violence, it's gonna ruin our kids. Listen, dude, I'm ready. I'm gonna download that day one.
That's a weak take.
Okay, I have a take on that, which is I think brands, for whether it be doing partnerships with GTA or doing anything, because I don't know if you guys get this now, but like I'll sometimes have, when I get like a sponsor and they're like, oh, games you can play, and you can't fucking play GTA. I think that's gonna change. I think that's gonna change. I think GTA 6 will be so big that like they'll just have to allow it. That's number one. Number two, I think this gets into a weird sort of take space, but let me cook on it. I think GTA 3 and GTA 4 were the peak of like sensational shit, because it was like, oh my God, you're killing these prostitutes after you had sex with them. Oh my God, you're driving into a crowd of people and killing them. And it's, oh my God, you just shot all those cops. It was so fucked. And then social media came out, and then all of this shit in GTA happened in real life and got recorded in real life. And now, I think we hit the peak of like inflammatory, like crazy content being distributed to people. I think we hit that peak in GTA 4, GTA 5. I'm sorry, but like there was even what's his name, fucking Shane Gillis, the stand-up comedian, made a bit about this, where he's basically talking about the entire like wars are just filmed on GoPros now. Like we can just watch war. Like it just, that content exists. Like on my
combat footage all the time, yeah.
On my Twitter feed are these fucking accounts that are like disturbing facts, and then I have watched. Let me put it this way: I have watched more plane crashes, like horrific plane crashes, in the last year than I watched in all of my years of life before 2023 combined. We live in a time where basically all this horrific shit's just everywhere. I actually think the violence and fucked up shit from video games is just deeply. It fell off. It's just not. It doesn't compete with all the shit that we deal with today.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry, Mehdi.
I was going to say, like, we also, because of social media, everyone gets a voice, right? When GTA 5 came out, it was like the local news got to say that it was bad, and there wasn't really anyone to be like, well, actually, I'm a video gamer. right?
Yeah, it's a different world. Different world, right? I mean, absolutely. I mean, like going back to what you said, Blau, I've seen more people die on Twitter than I've ever seen before. I don't know why I have a fucked up timeline or.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what y'all like?
I don't know. Mine is like car accidents, people fucking getting shot, robbed. It's like, what the fuck is going on, man? That's all I see.
Yeah, no, I agree. And
so I got GTA on my phone all the time. It's called Twitter.
Yeah, and I'm like, listen, like the biggest reaction of violent, like let me put it to you this way. Back in the day, there was all these crazy reactions to violence in GTA. Didn't Kevin get on a news article once or some shit?
Yeah, the Chicago local news.
Chicago, right? Yeah, like there used to be all these big news people covering the violence of GTA. And now it's like the biggest piece of news that I saw regarding the violence of GTA is from the fucking Tate brothers who were incarcerated for alleged sex trafficking and who run Hustlers University. And listen, anyone who runs something that has hustler in the name, unless it's literally hustler, is full of shit, right? So the fact that that's the one that it got the most attention tells me that no one fucking cares about the violence and stuff anymore. Also, you have
yeah.
I don't know. Sure. Brands are also just more unhinged. They realize that like brands get absolutely blasted and in trouble for shit that they don't think they would get blasted and in trouble for. And now they're fine saying unhinged things that, I don't know, like social media managers.
It's also a different world. Think about it, right? Back in the day, they had more say in things. Nowadays, you could have more influence and power than a brand as a person because of the power of social media, right? So you can compete in that aspect. Before in the past, you couldn't, right? And now with how things are moving toward the internet being the loudest voice in the world, people tend to go with that instead.
Can I bring up something?
Yeah.
Okay. When you watch the trailer, did you notice the beach scene?
Yeah.
And how not only was there so many individual like NPCs, pets there, but how each one had a different, like almost different body type, yet they were all wearing bathing suits. Which when I look at that and I think to myself, like, you know, when you pick a pet from GTA 5, there's probably only like 6 of them with bathing suits.
Yeah.
And they have a couple variations. But the amount that was in that scene almost suggests that like they don't have like static heads.
Yep.
But there's actually huge variation in all of them wearing different types of clothing and the body where they're almost like custom, you know what I mean? Or like dynamically created.
Yep.
Not a single one of those NPCs looked the same or wore the same thing. And to me, that is freaking crazy.
Dude, yeah, there were so many. Yeah.
Wait. So, wouldn't it be better though to make all the locals or NPCs the same as the player model, so they all can be just made to whatever you want?
What it is.
I think it might be that. I think they might have a like for all we know, they changed to having like one loaded in model that then just has insane variation on it. Like that just lets you just like that could be one thing they did.
Like height, like it almost looks like there might be like a muscular male, for example, but even then the size of that individual, the amount of body mass still varies. I mean, dude, none of them even look remotely the same. It's to your point, Ssaab, I think that might be what it is.
If that's the case, then they just, that's a home run right there for sure. Because in the past, like you said, the limitation of the pet did not let you go anywhere with it except clothing, right? And nowadays, you could be anything.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane. All right, we can come back to GTA 6, guys, but the warm up's over. It's time for the I
That was the warm up. That was the warm
I
up.
thought GTA 6. Oh, dude, maybe I should have done 2 episodes because we could. I feel like keep going on GTA 6. But
I mean, there's so many things that you can talk about. Yeah, we could probably move on.
I mean, we can come back to. I mean, I just got to ask. Got GTA 6. Now we have Prodigy just released their trailer. Not trailer. Your guys' December update, which was great. Loved Carmen voicing it. That was awesome. And then Onyx just dropped. So Trav, why do you hate all the other servers and decide to play on Onyx?
Dude, you can't gaslight me. You can't gaslight me into some shit. Well, okay. I mean, you want me to? So I didn't play on Prodigy at all. Obviously, there was a bunch of like I don't necessarily think I have any issues with like the chain gang people, but obviously we've had our beef in the past, and I saw what they were doing over there, and I just didn't want to like fucking be like, oh hey, what's going on? It's like I'm glad I'm not the type of dude that wants to see anyone fail. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like I was just trying to respect people for like shit they've created. As far as that whole Prodigy thing goes, and not playing on it, but I don't hate anything they do. If anything, I hope that I mean realistically it's like competition in a GTA world is super interesting because like in like like manufacturing, but the more options you have, it's kind of like the more like people are forced to be, or servers should be forced to be more competitive on the as far as like assets and enforcing rules and all of that shit. The downside is like the split in community that comes with the different servers. But I think that's a whole nother thing. I'm kind of like rambling at this point.
I mean,
that was just the intro to it. But yeah, I'm curious.
Well, you cover it pretty well.
What are all you guys' thoughts? Like, yeah, that was the meme question. But it's like, okay, a few months ago, I think literally when I last did this podcast, there, we were largely just talking about NoPixel and stuff. Okay, now there's 3 servers. There's Prodigy, which Mehdi has been playing on. We have Onyx. Trav told me he's planning to play on that. I mean, I'll just say a quick take, which is as much as I think people think there's going to be like drama or reasons why this person plays on this server or that server or doesn't play on this server, dude, I actually think 95% of the time it's gonna be like, y'all don't have fucking time to play on one server. Like, I'll be honest, that's good. That's just hard. I mean, I think
I tried it. I've tried playing. I mean, there was 2 different games in the past, but I've tried playing like on GTA
and
on
Wild
NoPixel
right?
and Wild RP, right? It's hard, man. It's hard to keep 2 storylines going.
Yeah.
My counter argument would be like, no, because what about people that play multiple characters?
I mean,
I don't think there's.
That's different in my opinion.
Why is that different though?
Oh, I can kind of
because you're sinless. Because you're in the same ecosystem or the same kind of server, right?
I know. I don't know, man. I
you're
think
still in that same world. You're not going to a different world, right?
It's all kind of like the GTA world, I guess. I don't know. I feel like if people really wanted to, like, absolutely they could. And I also think there's like I don't know. I think there's just a lot of like, and I'm not saying you're dumb, but I think there's a lot of like dumb narratives that get spun over stuff like that. Like
I'm not saying it to like discourage people. I'm speaking from my experience. I'm saying it was challenging. It was very challenging.
Yeah, but here's the reality. I feel like you were playing Wild RP because NoPixel was in a very rough state at the time, and you didn't fucking enjoy your time over there. It's like you got on to do your time, and that was it. Where if you're enjoying your time equally, right? I know for a fact you enjoyed your time on Wild RP, and then coming over to NoPixel was, I mean, it was rough. I
don't think it was really about that per se. It was more about trying to do this, 5-6 hours, and then going back to this and trying to do 5-6 hours and try to get a hold of that person, try to talk to that person at a certain time. It's just trying to even manage the stories can be difficult.
Yeah, I actually take Saab's side here, Trav. I mean, Mehdi, I'll be curious to hear what you think, but like, I think for me, it's like, okay, sort of 2 things. It's like, 1, not that many people actually play 2 characters. I'll start with that. Not that many people actually do. Number 2, I think a lot of the people who do play 2 characters, they play one that has maybe more long-term storylines, and then one that, you know, fuck around, right? Like for instance, if I'm playing on, let's say I'm playing on NoPixel, right? I can play Mickey where I have like longer term stories or like lore and stuff. If I play my cop character, I'm just playing to go fuck around. If I play, you know, I have this British character that I play with another streamer named Ellum, I'm just playing to go fuck around. I don't care. I don't need to worry about any of the longer term stories. Then my third point, okay, even if you have someone who okay, they actually do play more than one character. Okay, their multiple characters have different storylines going on. To Ssaab's point, being in the same literal universe, even if those characters are in two separate fields, things are more familiar, right? If someone references a certain place, even if even if in character you don't know what that is, OOC you do know, and that can just make it more familiar, right? So I think playing two characters with two separate storylines, but still in the same kind of universe, makes it easier for you to follow along. It's kind of like playing, I don't know, it's like having two different Marvel movies, but they're in the same Marvel universe, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, once you switch over to now we're in the DC universe, shit just gets, and now you have to juggle both those. I think juggling both the different storylines and now that you're in a totally different universe can be a lot.
I think you're almost like speaking from a viewer perspective though, right? Like there's nothing you like I'll go hop on, my buddy has a server and I'll go hop on his server. Like I won't stream it and I'll just have like, I'll fuck around and have fun. You know what I mean? Like it's not, I think I can agree on part of it, but I think a lot of it's like, man, if you really wanted to, it's not fucking hard. Just do it.
It's not hard, but it can be challenging long term, right?
Yeah, but I mean, dude, we have the fucking easiest jobs in the world, you know? You know what I mean? Like, it's like if you really wanted to do it, like, there's no fucking, there's no.
Absolutely, it could be done, and it can be done.
But like, the reality is, you did do it with NoPixel. You know
right, but I'm talking about my experience. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying it's very difficult. It can be challenging because of trying to schedule things, trying to do things, trying to plan the scene, trying to do that. What time I want to be on, right? Like just all that combined, as far as scheduling, can be sometimes just challenging. That's all.
Yeah, and there's also like, are you a full-time RP streamer? Yeah, I mean, if not, like, do you have to work another job or do you have other commitments, right? Do you have other content that you have to make, right? Like, if you're a variety streamer who just dips into roleplay, there's no way you're gonna do it, right? Like, that's just a lot of work. I mean, maybe you come in and do like some one life characters. I don't know. Mehdi, what do you think?
I don't think there really is a right answer because I mean, I don't. So I can only speak on my own. I think it really depends for myself, right? I have tried to. I tend to play one character at a time as like my primary, and it's just like anything else. Like, you know, if I was playing World of Warcraft, right, I might main a rogue, but occasionally mess around with a warlock. And I'll end up playing that character for some span of time until I think there becomes either a natural conclusion or ultimately I stop seeing there being much left of a story to tell. And then, you know, I'll move on to the next one. And I think I've been doing that for like 5 years now, to the point where I think even other RPers know when I'm done with the character. Like they'll see it a mile away, dude. And I know Saab's caught me a couple times on it. Like, we ain't gonna see him again for a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And for me, that's kind of like a personal choice, right? And that choice is primarily based on what types of stories or what style of story of how I kind of want to do it in my own accord. But that doesn't mean I won't occasionally sprinkle in like a Ryan Kindle. You know, pull him out for a little bit or do like a permathon or something where they are different characters, but they're more like very short stories, right? I don't expect to play them more than a couple hours. With that said, in relation to, I think the question was about like the servers playing on different ones. What was the original question? Because we went deep and then I don't know.
It was around like how much people play on.
Do you think it's possible to play on different servers? I think it's kind of like with the original.
I mean, the answer is yes, for sure. It's possible, for sure.
I think naturally, what is, I think it's great that there's going to be a lot of choices and a lot of like very talented individuals seeded into these communities. Because while going back to like an hour ago when someone's like, well, role play is a niche. Okay, even if it is, it has been growing, and more people started as viewers have become role players on these servers. And as that talent pool continues to grow, I think what we're likely to see is not only more options, but more environments that create these different universes. So I could see myself
100%.
playing a certain character being more fitted for one than another and enjoying my experience, and then maybe deciding I want to try a different flavor out, and having that option and availability, I think is very exciting.
It is.
Yeah, I think the idea also of like the servers not just offering different mechanics and stuff like that. I think the biggest thing is what you touched on there, Mehdi, is if these servers can offer almost just like a different vibe of RP, because maybe some days you're like, hey, I want to do like this really deep, intense sort of character arc and do a really sort of serious thing. And other days you're like, yo, I just want a fucking cop chase, right? Like I just want some pogs, some content. Maybe some servers will have, be better at that than others, right? And so then you can kind of pick and choose. This is my I have a doomer take, but I want to be clear that in the long run I do agree with you, Mehdi. I think in the short run, and maybe this is a bad take, but I think in the short run, I think the competition, because everyone's like, oh, competition's good, this is all great. I agree. It's great for the introduction of new graphics, new mechanics, new content in all the servers. It'll push them to hopefully churn out, each of the servers churning out more updates, content more regularly. I think in the short run, there's like going to be a little bit of, not even a lot of magic that is missed from what NoPixel 3.0 had, which was all of these personalities all in the same place, right? Like, and and listen, maybe some of it wasn't always, like maybe some of it was a little spicy and dramatic, but like, dude, the fact that you could have Wrangler pulling over Chain Gang, or the possibility of like, I don't know, Mr. K and Buddha collaborating on some heist or plan was kind of cool. I think a lot of it caused drama.
I don't agree with that.
Oh, really?
No, and mostly, I recognize the feeling of it, and I loved the feeling of 3.0, but that's undercutting the new folks that we haven't met yet, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm kind of looking at it from the lens of, some of these like collab, these collabs, let's call them, that we experienced back in 3.0 may not happen in these new flavors, but now that there is going to be a collective 600, 700, 800, depending, like if you add all the populations up, these faces and these personalities that have yet to present themselves, getting their limelight and creating these new ones.
Absolutely. No, and to be fair, and I think I did say this, I prefaced that I said right in the short term that I was a little sad.
Oh, true.
I mean, I think because I actually 100% agree with your take in the long term, because it is like you said, it's like, hey, instead of 200 role players at any given time, we're actually gonna have 600, and it's like we're gonna have all of this new talent that builds up, and now we have a pool of 600 people online across these different servers, getting their reps and getting building up their talent. I'm saying in the short term, dude, like Jean-Paul versus Kyle Pred, right? Like, I mean, like there's just like, there were some really big, and again, it's like we'll eventually get these big personalities and these new people coming up. We're going to get incredible conflict. Like, damn, dude, there were some heads that butted in 3.0 that I actually think, looking back, maybe I'm looking back with rose-tinted glass, but man, that was content.
I think a lot of people underestimate just how great of a collaboration 3.0 was for everybody who was part of it. You got these people from, all these different categories of Twitch coming together in different platforms under one umbrella and role-playing. And we'll never get that again, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But to me, it feels like an end of an era and start of a new era with the 3 servers, and just moving forward to see what kind of creative and new things come out of it. That's what I want to see. I want to see that kind of just like the new creativity of just different kind of directions, kind of splitting at different forks and seeing what they can come up with. And that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, like I agree with you, Mehdi. I think long term it'll be really good. It's just in the short term, I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's just nostalgia hitting me, but I'm a little sad that like we won't have all of the big personalities now like in the same spot. But again, it's like you said, now there's room for more.
Yeah. Only the future, hard to predict the future,
Nobody can, man.
Yeah, that shit's gonna be wild, dude. It's gonna be interesting to see where stuff goes. Yeah.
Okay, it's time for all right, here's the drama question then. Okay, so fuck, marry, kill. Onyx, Prodigy, NoPixel. Trav, you first.
Oh, fuck me.
Well, do you want me to wait?
I'm
do you
kidding,
want me to talk about?
I'm kidding.
You want me to talk about the drama? Is that what you want?
No. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
Don't do it. Don't fall from Blau's fucking base, man.
I'm kidding.
I mean, I have lots of hot takes, but sometimes
I'm not here for the drama.
Listen, I actually think there is. I think there is a lot. I think people are making a lot more drama than there needs to be. I think
drama and roleplay? No way.
Well, here's the thing, but you know what though is like the thing with drama and bringing shit up is shit needs to get hashed out. Like things need to be addressed. Like you can't just never address anything. I guess that's like why I talk about the things I do as much as I do. Not to say I'm like perfect, and I do complain about shit, but it's like if situations never get brought up or addressed, it's like, are you ever going to change something like that?
What situation would you want to get? Okay, what situation do you want to get addressed?
Oh God!
God. Nah, you know what? Fuck it.
No, I guess I mean in general, like it's like, okay, I thought you were going to ask heavy hitting questions like which server do you think is going to have success based on what, or what's going to be, and you know what I mean? Not.
I mean, I can. Yeah. If you want heavy hitting questions, yeah, sure. I mean, I can
well,
tell you.
I didn't know. I mean, I assumed it was going to be like that. I'm not. And the other thing is like, look, like, I guess my opinions are like my own, and this doesn't go against like NoPixel or Prodigy or anything, but it's like, I don't know. Like, I have my opinions
which server are you? Well, we can phrase it in a nicer way. Which server are you most excited about in 2024?
Well, it's Prodigy. The thing you know what it is for me. So this is my opinion with everything that's going on NoPixel, and it's such a fucking bummer because obviously I started there. Like I have like nothing but the utmost like respect for like the devs and the admins and everyone that made everything as cool as it is. But it's like my philosophy on roleplay, especially criminal roleplay, is you need to have this elite police force. And in 2.0 and beginning of 3.0, you ended up having that. And that was like, because you think about in 2.0 and 3.0, the crime, obviously there were more civs in 2.0, but you think from a viewer perspective and what people are watching, and it's like generally the crime stuff is probably the most watched and probably the most dominant on the server.
Agreed.
Now that being the case, like you need to have like an elite kind of like police force that are not only do they understand the laws, but it's like, they also understand role play. And right now it's like this point that we're at this point on NoPixel where it's like, bro, like cops used to complain about criminals doing like the craziest fucking, hey, I'm going to do a wall jump to get away from the cops immediately. And now it's kind of like, that's what the police force just feels like. It doesn't feel like role play. It feels like cop crim simulator. And it's like, man,
how do you fix it? How do you fix it, Trav?
See, that's an interesting thing, right? I think it's a complex thing because it's not one thing. And the thing that triggers me the most is when someone's like, bring Kyle Pred back. And I'm going to be honest, Kyle's one of my best friends, but Kyle got fucking lucky with the time that he was appointed sheriff, I think he was kind of a staple to the server and he did really well. And he put people in places that also did really well. But I don't think it's as simple as bringing Kyle back. I mean, the 6-man rule is like a huge one, right? Because every single situation now, whether it's a traffic stop or a bank robbery or big or small, now you have 6 people, right? And that ends up inhibiting the police force. So then it's like you start with your standard 4, right? And they're chasing 2 people in a car. They then call someone else. There's another car. So that's another 2 cops. And then it's like they call another person. That's another 2 cops. They call another person. That's another 2 cops, all the way up to 6. So now it's like you're looking at 14 cops involved in every single situation.
And if multiple situations are on, then yeah.
Yeah, and it just absolutely fucks so much shit going on the server.
Prolongs a lot of things, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's like that's kind of like the first thing, right? I mean, that's a big thing. The other thing is like understanding. It was like, I feel like in 2.0 you would get banned for having bad role play. And I mean, or not banned, but it was like, you know, it was like you had like your kind of like S tier role players that did well. And in 2.0, I can't think of a cop that was just dog shit role play overall. And I think right now it's just
I mean, for me, when I used to make cops back in the day, I'm like, damn, that's a cop. That guy must be a really good role player to be a cop, right? So I definitely agree with that statement for sure.
So because that's the thing, it's like from the perspective, from a role play perspective, it's like, yeah, sure, you're a cop, and it's like, you know, understanding like when you want to care, like Mehdi's the fucking king of it. He just fucking talk forever, but it's like he could drag out these fucking
drama, bro.
What? No, but it's like, you know what I mean? It's just like with Brian, it's like he comes up with these fucking wild theories that make absolutely zero sense. But the fact is what he's doing is he's creating these fucking situations that are it's just fucking heavy role play, and you get so many people involved.
That's why I love you, Trav.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, you know, you got like your Brians, and it's like, and then now it shifted. So this is my whole thing, right? We had a time on NoPixel where we referred to people as self-inserts, and it's not people are not self-inserts. They're playing a fucking power fantasy right now. Like, they're not inserting themselves. They're playing a version of themselves they wish they were through GTA, and it drives me fucking crazy. It's like what's the backstory of, like, you know, like there's character, and it's, well, as much as like I joke about being like a self-insert on characters, and it's like all my characters are honestly kind of like similar. It's like, you know, they come from me. Like, I'm not a fucking award-winning Oscar actor, but it's like, you know, I try to create situations where it's like I'm not afraid to win or lose, or, you know, be the main character or being a supporting character. And going back to like the whole police force and thing, it's just like there's that role play aspect I feel like the police force has lost. So it's like, man, like that's the bummer on NoPixel for me right now.
So
and moving into 4.0, it's like, man, what, like that's the thing that scares me, because again, like I said, I don't want to see NoPixel fail. Like, I want NoPixel to do well. It's like, fuck, dude, I would love to be able to play on, even though I don't know if I will, but it's like I'd love to be able to be like, oh my god, fucking NoPixel, you know what I mean? And it's like this fucking, obviously it's like content with like it's still a content server, but it's like heavily focused on roleplay. And it's like, how do you do that in a situation now? Like, what's the, I don't know, you know?
Okay, well, because one thing I'm curious for Ssaab's response. I also want to hear Mehdi's response, and sort of like Mehdi, I'm curious because I think we're on the line of really good and powerful police forces that can respond to stuff. Actually, and I've always had this take. I really do think that makes or breaks a server. The one thing I will throw in, and maybe I just got lucky, or maybe it was because I also spammed 911 anonymous on Mickey. When I did like my first heist in like a long time, I'm a little out of shape. Like, I was like, holy shit, the cops responded fast and really well. Like, and when I say, like, I say really well in two senses of the word. I think the way they managed their escalation and how they handled the scenes was really good, and they treated the role play really well. There was a scuffed situation with a helicopter that they actually rolled with and then let us continue it. And then also just like the kind of skill, like I actually think that you need actually a skilled police force. Like, they kind of have to be able to keep up and chase. Like, there's actually a baseline of mechanical skill. They have to keep up in chases. They have to be able to like know when to use certain tools and stuff.
Good comms, yeah.
I thought they were. I mean, I don't know. I actually was. I've heard like all NoPixel cop scenes again. I was blown away. I actually thought they were amazing. I thought it was some of the best police work and like police chase I've had in a long time. And that was just yesterday. So, I mean, maybe I'll have Ssaab touch on that, and then Mehdi, I want to hear about like your thoughts on like police and Prodigy.
What do you want me to touch up on? Because like, I mean, it's a very loaded question, right?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I mean, Trav's saying he's nervous for NoPixel because of the police force, or like how policing is done on the server.
I mean, I could give you my opinion.
Yeah, give me your opinion.
My opinion and the way I see policing is it has to be done in a way to where it's very immersive, and at the same time, it's also focus on preservation of life and officer safety. You get those three elements into policing, and you focus on that kind of role play, and you also allow for some sort of flexibility within the role play. A lot of good things can happen, and that's how I see it. I mean, it's just you need that in there, right? To be a cop being a cop and focusing on that, and then for things to build around it.
How's your experience been with the police force though recently on NoPixel? Honestly, honest to God truth. There it is.
I would say an 8 out of 10.
I feel like you're giving the PR friendly answer right now.
No, I'm not. I'm being serious because like I mean, I can link you. I can link you. I can link you a video of me being in so many chases the past month. I mean, I've been constantly breaking the law and doing crime. I would say 8 out of 10 for sure. There's room for improvement. There's things that can be done better. I'm talking based on my chases. I haven't been part of any investigations. I haven't been raided or went after hard except that warrant we had. But other than that, I mean, I've skipped like maybe 15 times in one chase, Trav. 15 times. The chase was 2 hours long.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so that's. I mean, but that's
not their fault. That's not their fault.
I'm also saying from, but you're talking about chases and stuff. I'm also talking from like a role play perspective.
As far as what? As a role playing as a cop, or is it like?
Yeah, I mean, that's just over like.
Dude,
like,
man, but like I mean, and again, this is just from 2 days. Had a crazy, and so I'll talk. The chase was great. Their role play in the chase, I think, was really great. I literally broke rules and ruled. By the spirit of rule of 6, I literally ruled of 7 them. We had scuff occur, so I just fucking flew a helicopter over and held up some cops, whatever. And the way they handled the situation, I mean, listen, I could have OOC'd, hey, like, listen, this thing's scuffed out, but like, I thought it would be cooler to just do it fucking in character. It was sick. And then they fucking shot us out of the sky with a jet. It was awesome. I loved it. So pogs were great. But then during interrogations, dude, who is it who plays Carter? African Snowball just takes this super like dark, take with it. It's like, yo, Mickey, I know you're back here for some other shit. What are you up to? Why the fuck are you coming back? And like I'm getting like, and again, I could continue that storyline, except I see Mickey, but like the way he was handling it, I thought the role play, the dialogue was good. And again, I'm coming out of the 2 days that I have, and my experience with the police on NoPixel in the last 2 days was a 9 out of 10. I'll be honest with you. The only thing I maybe miss is Kyle yelling at me. That's probably it.
I mean, like I said, my experience only from the crim side. I don't know what's going on between cop v cop, like, or
no,
what.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying role play in general. It's not even like a cop v cop thing. I'm like I'm not talking. I'm talking about the role play. You know what I mean? I understand. You're talking about kind of like the chase.
Can role play be a lot better? Yes, absolutely, for sure. I mean, there's no disagreeing on that. I just I don't know. Like for me, I'm just kind of speaking about my experience, my opinion, and I'm going with that. That way I'm not being like, I'm not showing bias. I'm just going based on what I've seen experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, this could be, obviously I was only on there for 2 days. I have these interactions. Maybe it's not the norm. Who knows? Mehdi, I'm curious if we're talking about, cop dynamics, how I actually have not seen enough of this on, like, how do you feel about the cops on Prodigy? How's that been?
So I come from I've keep in mind, right? I played it. I come playing on Crim fresh off playing cop for what, 1.5 years, 2 years or something like that. So it's definitely a perspective shift, right? It's different. I will say that a lot of their veterans are some of the scariest police force, and shockingly so. Parallels, insane. Like they'll have 3 cops and they'll be like, you go into an alleyway immediately. Only one is going through the alleyway. The other 2 are flanking. The other one's parallel. Spike is coming out like safely around a corner. And I remember the first 4 weeks, like I was just constantly in astonishment, just being like, how are they communicating this? Like, how do they know the map this well? And what would be interesting is that most of the crim comms tends to be how to counter cop parallels, which I don't know if that's a norm, right? Because like I said, it wasn't back when I was playing Nino, like that wasn't something that.
Well, so give me an example. What does that mean?
It would mean, so I boost a lot, on little tugs, just a boosting goblin. When we're in our chases, our comms are, yo, we need to go that way. There's a parallel over there. And what that's trying to imply is that this dude is literally going to call into comms and see us again. You take a corner, you have to like predict where the cop is paralleling. Otherwise, they're back on your ass. Now, keep in mind the cop vehicles tend to be not 1-to-1 matching. They tend to be about like 10 miles an hour faster so that they can parallel as well. So the dynamic is a little bit different. But no, it's been quite good. But it's also, as the server's gotten bigger, there's also that same notion of like new cops are getting in, they're still being trained. So, I think it's the bringing newer cops up to speed is similar, probably going to be similar to what was seen when, we were recruiting folks in the other police force. I mean, it was good. It's good. It's hard for me to. It's a very loaded, I think, topic.
We can.
It is. It's very complex, right? Let's going back to the whole thing, right? It just. I mean, it's such a heavy question to answer because it takes both parties to buy in, crim or cop or civ, whatever, into this collaboration effort, so you can create the story or have this little cool scene, right? That's all it is about. People just gotta buy in and trust each other, and sometimes that trust is never there, and as a result, it spirals and shit's the fucking fan, and then we're on the news. I guess I don't know. That's kind of my hot take on the whole thing.
I mean,
I think there's something to be said too about, like, I don't think there's even like necessarily like a specific way a police force even needs to be on a server, right? Like there's definitely preferentials that I think each of us probably have. I know when I play, like I've got my preferences when playing cop. I've also got my preferences how I'd like to have my interactions with another cop. But even that is dependent on the character. Like if I'm playing Nino, I want them to be so good that each thing needs to be calculated.
Yeah.
Where the moment you're out, you're out. Like there is no going back for anybody, because if you're doing that, it's idiotic. Like we're gonna get clapped or get caught up. Like someone gets caught, you got to leave them. You got to leave them. But then when I play someone like Little Tugs, who's just like a wannabe gangster, like ready, it's like a rabid dog. Like I might be a little bit more on the goofy side and want to a little bit more, I guess, rope to do the goofy things, if that kind of makes sense. And I think ultimately where that leads me to is, I think having different styles of police forces is a good thing, because in turn it allows for different prim types to exist in those environments. It also leads to another point, which is that if a server wants to have a bit more dynamicness to their styles that are open, those at the top need to be able to enforce and run the officers below them to know when to pull on the rope and when to give some rope back. And that's a very difficult thing to do, because not only do you need to know how to role play, but you really need to be able to read what's happening in front of you. Is someone being a shitlord just because they want to do whatever they can to get away? Or are they trying to do something that they can't otherwise do, and you're going to allow them to do it? I don't know. What I said made any sense.
No, I mean,
that was amazing. And I just want to briefly interject. I know Trav wanted to say something. I just want to briefly interject that, like, some people in the chats, I don't think we're getting this. We're talking about, yeah, we talked a lot about chases, but at the end of the day, that's what a lot of crim to cop interaction is chases, right? Like, I get that people.
I see. That's where I disagree. I think that's what it is now. Where again,
well, it depends
I think
it depends what you do though, Trav. Like, don't get me wrong. I know that listen, I've seen the beautiful clips of gray RP between like the SDSO cops and stuff like that. But like, you have to understand, like, you can have the greatest role players ever, and if they're on cops, like, I'm going to be totally honest with you, you can have the greatest RPers ever, but if you take away their, like, if they literally just can't drive a car, literally, like, can't drive, they can still be great cop role players, but they can't be a part of some, like, it's going to be hard for them to be a part of some role play. Conversely, you can have people who are phenomenal drivers or who are phenomenally mechanically, you can keep them in those chases, and they're going to suffer way more in courtroom RP or in police station RP where they're bantering and shooting the shit with other people. I think what Mehdi said made a lot of sense, right? You need probably different cops for different things. I mean, ideally, if I were to make my perfect server, I'd have
side you're completely missing now. Okay, like I understand that, and that is probably the most watched shit. But what about like the keywoes? You know what I mean? What about the investigative RP? You know, I mean, Crystal's another good point.
No,
like all of that, like
great.
you don't need that. But that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. It's like, and right now, I guess that's my thing. Is like that side of role play is like I'm thinking outside of the chases, and don't get me wrong. Obviously,
but Trev, what is it people struggle with a lot in investigations? The give and take aspect of things.
Right,
talked about, right?
Right, 100%. I think you're absolutely right.
And I'm only saying from my perspective, because I was on the server for 2 days, so I can only give my take according to the 2 days. So maybe instead of the cop role play on NoPixel, I'll say, hey, you know what? The chase role play and the skill involved in the chases was a 9 out of 10. I can't speak to the rest. There, I'll amend my statement. I think that's how I would say it then. Because you're right. That other stuff is important for other characters, for other arcs.
Because that's because I think the reality is this is and while obviously I think I agree that kind of stuff has its place in NoPixel or just like in roleplay in general. But the reality is the reason people watch roleplay is because they don't know what's going to happen, right? There's a reason that it's been at the top for 5 years, right? You have a game like Fortnite or PUBG where you drop in, you do the same thing, and it's like the longevity of a game like that versus NoPixel or roleplay. The reason you don't know what's going to happen. So it's like if you're constantly just doing chase, or bank, you know what I mean? It's like that's where you lose kind of like the magic. And again, I'm not saying like, hey, that's bad roleplay. I think like there's a certain place where all of that fits, but as of right now in roleplay, you're kind of missing the slow burn investigation stuff. You're missing kind of like actually I shouldn't say you're missing it, but because I think the Italians from Red Dead are doing like a good job with their shit right now.
They're amazing.
Like I mean that's like they're great. Like Peppo from Wild RP, like it's really cool to actually see the Wild RP people come over and like thrive in that sort of scenario. And I think that's the like that sort of criminal, like that sort of criminal RP is what you're missing on the cop side of things, where it's you have the Kiwos and the Bryans and like the investigative, and it's like, like this slow burn kind of like we're doing this thing, building a story versus like, hey, I'm responding to a ping that's coming in. I'm responding to a ping that's coming in. I'm responding to a ping that's coming in. I think that's like, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you're not
wars with Leslie anymore. Very true.
You're not wrong at all. That is definitely needed. I mean, long-term investigation, building a case can be very, very fun. It could be a very unique experience that the investigator gets to go on, right? And for that, it's about the journey, not the final destination for me as well, right? Yes. Always about that. Always about that, because the final destination can never be what you plan it to be, because, like you said, roleplay is unpredictable.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, oh, go ahead, Mehdi.
Very good. I was just going to say that with that, I want to double on what Ssaab said, the give and take. And, those things can only be as good as both sides are willing to kind of give each other. Yeah, Sorry, go ahead, Blau.
Well, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, Trav, I think all your points are fair, but it's also like, I expect, there to be really good deep cop RP and investigative RP and slower burn RP for the cops. What you said to the Italians on the Crim, what you'll see with the cops on say on Onyx, right, when it drops, right. But part of the reason why I think, okay, first of all, I think Zetark and the DiCenzas and the Italians are amazing RPers, but they're also new to the server, so it's sort of fresh for them, right? I think it's also, it's going to be hard to sort of judge the police force of NoPixel when it's this deep into its life, because I also would counter your point and say that at the end of a cycle of a roleplay server, it tends to focus more on just, hey, we're going to go rob a bank, hey, we're going to go chase them. A lot of those slower burn things tend to fade away.
I think that's a narrative that gets spun though, because I was on at the end of 2.0, and the people that were role playing at the end of 2.0 were the ones that shined at the beginning of 3.0. Like the whole narrative about like, oh, there's this burnout and whatever. It's like, bro, the people, like, look at Buddha. Buddha's still, I mean, is Buddha slacking off? Sure, he'll go around and shoot cops more, but I mean, I don't think he's like doing less than he was. I think that whole thing is like copium and a fucking excuse that people use. If I'm going to be 100%.
Well, I mean, we just need to break out the cycle of like having like a wipe or some shit like that at the end of a cycle. Just continue to the next one without like the little pause where people just like go on autopilot. I think we just need to break out of that cycle and the mentality. So we're moving forward, but we're always putting our best forward instead of trying to say, oh, you know what, in a little bit of time, I'll try my hardest. Right now, I'm just gonna coast.
I think, and I think Trav, you're right, but I agree with you, but I also sort of disagree on the why. I think ultimately, I feel like that opinion is coming from us streamers, from the sense that if a wipe was coming, and I'm looking like past wipes as well, if a wipe is coming, there is going to be that impetus in the back of your mind, which is like, it could happen in 4 weeks. And I now, as a person, as a streamer, am I going to pull back on my energy expenditure on building something up that might just end in 3 weeks, right? Or do I kind of chill a little bit and, wait till the thing happens and then invest my energy back?
Yeah, I can't exactly. I can't. I mean, and maybe it's because I'm a shit RPer, but I just can't put my best foot forward every day, right? Like, I would rather, especially, and maybe we can fault that with just the trailers being teased earlier or whatever. But I could even say like, maybe people just are saving their energy, right? And I think that's a pretty valid thing.
No, Blau, you gotta sign up for the Mantis mentality.
What's that mentality?
You'll see.
I don't know what that means.
Chat will tell you.
Chat will chat.
I'm waiting. Yeah.
You play to the whistle, basically. You never stop.
Play to the whistle, never stop.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, even LeBron doesn't do that. Come on, man. Granted, he's old, but
yeah, that's true. He's the GOAT, though.
I mean, if the goat doesn't do it, then I don't do it. Is all I'm saying. So, Trav, for Onyx, they announced that it was rule of 4 and then rule of 6 for some situations. Mehdi, on Prodigy, it's what, rule of 5? Just flat?
Yep. Then like, there's the big rule on everything is prefaced with you can do whatever as long as there's role play behind it. And that if you believe a rule is broken, let's say like someone brought someone extra in, whatever, you do not try to correct that in role play in the moment. You role play it out, and if it's a concern, you ticket it.
I kind of love that.
So to give a example, generally speaking, a lot of things are tuned for like some things you actually only want to bring 2, sometimes 3. If you're doing a job, you don't even need the full 5. It actually hurts you in some ways. But yeah, you bring the 5, but then like we had a jailbreak situation a couple days ago. And I think that was like 9 or 10 or something like that. But yeah, it's 5 is like the expected amount, but you can go past it if it makes sense, if that makes sense.
I kind of like that. I will say, Trav, when you were talking about your hopes for the Onyx PD, I really did agree with you, and it's something I think NoPixel should heavily consider this for 4.0. Doing like going back to rule of 4 as the base, and then doing 5, 6 for certain special things, or even doing exactly what Mehdi said, which is go to rule of 4. And then if a situation calls for it, so it's like, hey, yeah, we boosted a D car, you know, let's not rule of 6 this, bring in the just tuner cars, right? But like, it's like, yo, like we're hitting a fucking crazy job. We're like, yo, we have this crazy amount of coke that we're trying to like protect in a shipment. Then I think having more people, you know, honestly just adds to the role play. But I do agree with you, Trav.
The casino was a good example of like what I would have seen kind of like rule of 6 want to like to stick to, you know what I mean?
Like a big ass heist, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like the constant rule of 6. And I think originally like it was introduced and it was supposed to be like, hey, like creative or special plans. But obviously it's like, you know, as time goes on, or as time went on, I should say, like it kind of just evolved into everything, into rule of 6. And
so
which ends up, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to just interject to let you know, yeah, the origin was literally for a vault plan. We did 5 of
Thank
us.
you, Blau. Thank you.
Yeah.
Blame Blau, everybody.
Yeah, sorry. No,
I remember
they asked us to test it. And
was that
I'm
for
just
the
fucking with
scooter
you.
one? That was the scooter, right?
No,
Where you guys put the scooter, because I remember Chain Gang did it, and they parked scooters at the hangar in the airport.
No, that kind of broke the rule, but it was more because they're hostages and they're told that, like, they're all technically hostages in that situation when Chain Gang did that. No, when we did a vault, and the idea with why we honestly, the biggest reason we added more people was so that vehicles wouldn't poof. So I think inside of the bank.
Oh, because 5M. Yeah.
Yeah, so inside of the bank, I believe it was just Buddha, Tony, and and then outside of the bank was Ray and me. And we were outside with vehicles that just wouldn't poof. And it was basically like, took all the loot and we like shuffled him through all these vehicles to get away, right? I think something like that, or like you said, the casino, that made sense. I think when everyone gets, Pepe W about rule of 6 is when it's like house robbery or some random thing, and then all of a sudden 6 tuner cars show up.
Traffic stop.
Yeah, traffic stop.
I feel like that's sort of when, and I'm with you, right? Like, I think that's where, what is the word? Like, everyone should be responsible for making sure that they're not, pressing the boundary, right? And if there is people going around doing like house robberies, 6-manning them, right? Or and just making it effectively impossible to ever get caught, then at that stage, I honestly feel like the question should be drawn up: are they actually trying to role play?
Yeah, agreed.
And that's something where, the individual or individuals really just need to be spoken to and be like, what was your role play reason to bring 6 supercars to 6 different houses and play Ring Around the Rosie for the past 3 weeks or whatever?
I mean, at some point, you're just grinding money, right? It's just you're treated like an MMO, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like if you can't answer that question, right, to someone, if they were to ask it, well, then inherently they got to be checked.
Yeah, and to people in the chat and like other thing, it's like obviously you need good, like a balanced cop response, right? Like I don't know if you're pulling out, Air 1 and like, interceptors for a house robbery, right? I mean, unless depending on what vehicle they're using, right? But like obviously there's some measured response there, but I typically favor more police response than less. And I think Trav actually did have a really good point earlier. That's like, as soon as you increase the number of criminals, the fact is, it's like you have like people are always doing crime on the server, right? So like in a world where it's rule of 6, as soon as you have like 4 different groups doing crime at around the same time, which is pretty likely, you lose all your cop force to all those chases, right? And then that also ruins the idea of like then cops do go into that kind of role play that you know, I think Trav was, you know, maybe not even considering roleplay, but then they are just, you know, ping bots or honestly NPCs just chasing people, right? And they don't have enough time to breathe and do, you know, maybe slow burn RP. So I think.
Can I make a point to that?
Yeah.
I think that is it's important. Yes, it is true that all these pings that would be generated may result in cops just feeling like they're going to ping to ping to ping. But I think this is, and I think Ssaab can relate to this, is we used to talk about it all the time when we used to play our cop characters. Oh my God, Knight and Bass, Pepe hands. We don't have to go to every call. Like, right? Some houses are getting robbed. We don't have the force. We don't want to go to a house robbery. It's at the bottom of the totem pole. It's not high priority. Who cares? Someone broke in a house. They took it, right? I think it's important for a police force to, when they respond to something, have the energy to actually fulfill the role play of that situation that they're going into. And if there are officers that feel compelled that they need to go to each and every one, I feel like that's when you got to pull them aside and be like, hey, you know, you don't have to do this. Like, sip it like wine. The exception being cop goes down, right?
Yeah.
14 Alpha, or, you know, maybe the vault is hit or something that's supposed to be like critical to the police department. And I think if you can find that fine line of making sure people aren't just sitting in Mission Row all day and equally responding, I feel like that problem goes away really quickly.
Yeah, and like, and honestly, sometimes it's like, this is bad because I've been playing too much Lethal Company. But from the Crim POV, it's kind of like Lethal Company. Listen, sometimes I'm just dropping on experimentation. I'm dropping on one of the lower moons, and I just want, hey, quickly get in, grab some loot, get out. And the presence, the thought that something could happen still terrifies me, right? But if every single moon I go to, I open the door and I got the fucking thumper and coil head and bracket, if I have all that shit on me right when I go in every single time, it loses its loses the kick, right? Like you kind of.
I'm assuming that's like valuable goods, or like I'm assuming it's something like this. Very.
Oh, those are the scary things, you know. But I guess the cook is basically this: if every single time I go to a house robbery, there's always fucking cops there. Like at that point, I'm almost discouraged. I'm like, oh shit! Like I'm preparing more for that, unless like, you know, like I don't know, like sometimes you want to just get in and out and like not always have cops responding to every single little ping.
That is one thing that I actually thought was pretty interesting with what I want to preface this with, I haven't played Crim in a year and a half, right? Prior to Tugs. But with what I noticed on Prodigy was you could go hit the ATM, you could go bust into a grocery store, and 9 out of 10 times the cops wouldn't come, right? And it almost allowed you, because this is going to sound a little strange, but that part of you that's doing the crime and getting away with it a lot, right, on the small petty stuff, when they did respond, the feeling of your heart dropping was something else.
Yeah.
You know?
That was exactly
an oh shit moment for sure.
That was the cook I was going for. I don't think I explained it well, but like
it's all like the lights get really bright. You're like, oh god, it's like a deer in a headlight, basically.
Yeah. When you actually do it, yeah. If you've been like chilling, nothing much is happening, you're grabbing your scrap on March, and then all of a sudden, bam, there's a fucking coil head in front of you. That was kind of the cook I was going. I'm sorry, I didn't do that well. But exactly what you said, Mehdi. Thank you. Okay, well, circling back, I'll say Trav, we touched on a spicy thing. So you have a lot of faith in Onyx because of how you view the police force.
Listen, bro, I think it's a crapshoot, right? I'm not gonna. I mean, realistically, it's like, yeah, you know what? Obviously, it's like, you know, I'm very optimistic because it's like, man, Alex fucking killed it as far as PD. Mantis killed it as well. And I think having people like that kind of like running everything, it'll be really cool. But it's like I guess I don't think it's doom and gloom for any kind of like RP server right now. You know what I mean? Like it
should be excitement, right?
What? Yeah,
should be excited.
That's the thing. Is
I'm
like
pretty excited. Yeah.
It should. It is really exciting, man. People should be excited.
But I guess it's you know, obviously I'm going to be biased, but it's like a lot of my friends are in that, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's obvious that there's obvious bias for where people are like going to be playing or stuff. One person who's kind of interesting, because I've even told my chat, like, I think my perspective is this: I might play Onyx or Prodigy, but not, you know, it'd be sometime like next year. It's like my coming back to roleplay is like, I want to come back with NoPixel and then like do like longer term stuff with NoPixel. And then maybe sometime next year, if I can think of a character or think of something that I think fits in the other servers, I would try the other servers, right? But
go on a tour, yeah.
Yeah, go on a little tour. But someone in my chat, they might be lying, but I'm curious, Mehdi, people are saying that you want to play on all three. Is that like, are you gonna day one all three? So are you gonna day one Onyx?
Well, we'll see what happens on Friday, I guess. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. Listen, I'm a freaking RP grinder. Like, I don't think anyone should expect any less. Yeah. I mean, we'll see what ends up happening. I say the child in me says I want to try everything on the table, right? But you know, reality is like, we'll see, you know, I don't plan my RP, I guess is the best way to think about it.
Dude, I'll admit, I saw the Onyx trailer. I really want to play on Onyx, but I just don't think I have like, it's kind of sad to say. I have like all these like things that I've mentally was preparing for the 4.0 launch. So I'm like, man, I feel like I'd just be too split. So I'm like, you know what? Cool. I'm going to chill on that. I'm going to wait till 4.0 comes out, play that, and then see.
Yeah, I think I feel like as I mentioned before, like I feel like certain characters or things that I may want to do may fit better in different environments. And I think it would be a cool proposition in my mind where I may do something for some period of time, like a character somewhere for some period of time, and then switch it up. And I think there's a big thing that I think has been left out of the discussion. So many, each server is going to have so many new faces. And that is a lot of that in and of itself to me is so extremely exciting. And it's the very reason I was excited playing Tugs on Prodigy is every one of those interactions was super fresh and different.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, even for myself playing like on one server where you've got like a character and you've experienced most of those characters, like other characters through that one, even if I go roll another one, I kind of know what to expect from the interactions. Right. And this sort of allows for more, I don't know, more of my creative juices being able to flow. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the best character I ever made was Jesse Flint on Wild RP, and I actually feel like Jesse was molded because like I went into Wild RP and just was with a ton of new people. I went there like thinking like, oh, I'm gonna role play with Tony and Buddha, and then I rarely like saw them. If anything, it was like I never actually I was basically a bitch to the DiCenzos. I was the gardener, and they're the funny. By the way, one of the funniest shit ever. Going from that to them then like super respecting Mickey and like working for Mickey when like I was their fucking. I literally. Dude, back in that day, I literally would do streams where I would just garden for them for like 4 hours straight and just fucking be typing on the environment of all the fucking gardening.
I'd be riding my horse because I was their neighbor on my Red Dead character, right? Yeah. I'd be riding my horse and I see Jesse basically guarding the Changel's backyard. I entered my mansion. I'm like, that's pretty funny. Yeah,
but like to that point though, it is kind of what makes it. That was a whole new group of role players and people. I barely even it was cool seeing like Ssaab and like, you know, John the Broski every now and then, but I was role playing with new people and I think it made me also a better role player. So maybe that maybe the really optimistic take is, okay, sure, some of the big personalities that we knew from that magical moment of like early 3.0, sure, you're not going to have, you know, XQC clashing with Wrangler. Like, you're not going to have that. But what you might have is all of these new faces, like Mehdi's talking about, who bring new stuff, but like also probably change all of the veteran role players and make us better too.
I mean, from my experience when I went to Wild, it was truly felt like I was leaving my comfort zone because I was used to being in a NoPixel world, right? And going there, it was a different kind of game, first of all, and it was a different kind of just vibe of role play. And I learned a lot. A lot of people taught me a lot about slash me RP, about being immersive in the moment, about props, positioning, how to make a cool scene. All these things I felt like I learned by going there because people went above and beyond at times. And I thought to myself, wow, that's great, man. Like people are so passionate. They're willing to spend this extra time. I want to do something like that too as well. So that experience was very helpful. And I mean, I'd recommend anybody just, you know, going out there and trying something different, right? And see if you can expand your RP knowledge.
Beautiful. I will say I do also genuinely hope that like, listen, we don't really, this isn't even touch on drama. It's like, there obviously has been like a lot of like, maybe like tribalism and stuff going on. I hope at least in 2024 for like two things, which is like, I hope that the big personalities on the 3 different servers can hopefully mend things. I don't know, maybe am I full of shit for hoping that? Anyways, if that can't happen, okay, well, if that can't happen, then I also genuinely hope that I just don't want it to turn into viewers comparing shit.
It
like,
will.
That's never gonna change.
Yeah, viewers. Go, sorry, Trav.
Not to be a dick, but I mean, like, Ignite's like a perfect example. Like, I hopped over there. I just didn't fucking enjoy it. And I think I played over there for like 3 days. I was like, went to NoPixel. And bro, the amount of fucking shit I got. And even there's like a dedicated viewership that just wouldn't even fucking watch NoPixel anymore. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. Like, it's already fucking started. I mean, it's the same shit with Prodigy.
It's a sad reality of, yeah, for sure.
Because you gotta like from a psychological, or like not even psychological, but from a primal aspect, like humans are they're tribalistic by nature. You know what I mean?
1000%.
They want to be a part of their thing that they're accepted in, and they're gonna think something's. It's like sports teams, you know.
It's like if I'm watching Onyx, I'm watching
Browns,
the best.
baby.
I'm watching the best roleplay server. If I'm watching NoPixel, if I'm watching Project, oh, that's the one that's the good one. Fuck those other ones. But yeah, that's I think that'll happen. I mean, I actually think people like Mehdi low-key, you're probably gonna be one of the people who helps the most against that by like showing people like good I mean, I'll glaze you, but you have good content, right? So I think showing people good RP content on all 3 of the servers, because I think that you will have good RP content on all 3 of the servers, will hopefully make people like, damn, like I can watch Disney Channel and Nickelodeon shit. Like, that's what I hope for. But I mean,
yeah, I mean, the level of sociopathic viewers, I think, over every year only increases. And you know, it's I feel, and all you got to do is, you know, pull up the various content spaces, we'll call them, outside of Twitch, to kind of get a taste of it, because it's not about, you know, what, and it'll happen in chats too, right? And it always throws me, you know, like, watch the goddamn content. You in my chat, you will only speak about the role play that's happening in front of you. No, you'll never get rid of that. And I think in some way, for many, that is a part of the entertainment. You know, as much as we may hate it,
It's reality, yeah.
It's a part of. It's like it's a reality TV show. That's how I think some people look at it.
what is Walnut RP? Why is my chat spamming that? What is Walnut RP?
Oh, dude. Oh, that's gonna be
Amish
exciting.
RP way better than better than Walmart RP for sure.
What is Amish RP? And I have not heard of that. What are these?
I can't tell you about Amish RP. I'm under NDA, so I'm sorry I can't talk about it.
Is it Amish roleplay? Can you tell me that?
NDA Blau, I can't talk about it.
Oh, okay. Fuck. My chat's saying I'm blacklisted. Oh shit. Oh god. Man, maybe I have been out of the scene too much. Well, hey, you know, bringing the bring the podcast back. You know, I'm actually starting to role play again a little bit. You know, I'm trying to come back, guys. Please.
I'm curious. Well,
Yeah.
are you planning to, you know, are you looking to try a new character out in the future? Do you think like, are you looking to do the same character experimentation? Just out of curiosity, the viewers want to know, Blau. What is the future of Blau RP?
I really want to. I'm gonna start with what's comfortable. I really want to do. I mean, I don't know. I played Mickey recently, and it was just really fun. I like playing Mickey. I think Mickey's really fun to play. So I really love playing Mickey, and then I do have plans for a new character. I don't know what server to do the character on, but I actually wanted to do because I really love Jesse from Wild RP. I want to do Jesse, but not the like Wild RP, like basically do the GTA version of Jesse. Like super young kid who's just a complete scam artist and just is constantly like lying and getting caught up in his lies and stuff, and is like kind of more of like played like a coward. So I kind of want to basically do Jesse Flint, but for GTA. That's kind of my plan. As far as cops, like I can't do cop RP.
Why is that?
It's too fucking hard.
Really?
Yeah.
You're doing
I'm
great on
curious
Kekona
now.
though.
I did like Lakona. I think
What did you find difficult about it? Genuine curiosity.
So much shit going on, man. It was like fucking. I mean, I think I could do Clay Kona, but I had to do him. I have to be a passenger princess. Yeah. I mean, the other issue is like, you know, I'm still doing variety and like, I still do IRL streams and stuff like that. It's like there's like I do get a little stressed thinking, oh fuck, I have to do new character, like new stuff like that. I actually really liked. It's weirdly enough, I really like Mickey because Mickey can be really versatile in how I play him. Let me be honest, like the way I played like Heist Mickey versus like Mayor Mickey were very different. And so I actually do like that Mickey is like a pretty versatile character I can play. So I'm gonna probably start with that. What about you, Mehdi? What have you have cooked up that you can share with the people?
I don't know, to be honest. I think dude, I'm really bad for like you know, I'll be honest. Every single one of my characters other than Nino was a perma character. It was intended to die, and I kept killing him off until the next thing kind of clicked. Kindle, Brian was a perma character.
Yeah, I remember. Trust me, I tried to kill that cop before you. 1.0. Yeah, I remember that.
So, speaking of
And
Nino,
so
like,
I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be, you know, let me try this thing out, and if it's working, it's working. If the story doesn't, I'm just rip bozo. Let me try another one.
I think, yeah, I actually, I will amend and say, I think the way I want to play Mickey, like specifically play Mickey for 4.0, is much more influenced by Nino in early 3.0. I actually want, you know, obviously play him as Mickey, but with like much more of that sort of, probably add in a lot more cautiousness to him. Still like insane psychopath that he is, but like actually a lot more inspired by, because I'm like, I want that kind of criminal for Mickey, and then almost kind of like, I actually liked your split with Little Tugs, because then the idea for my Jesse character or whatever I end up calling him is like, I want like a fucking street rat. Like I can just do whatever the fuck I want, right? Like I made like a British character once with a streamer named Ellum, and he and I just go around robbing people of their shoes, and we're like literally just like British thugs on the streets.
I remember that, yeah.
And so like I think I want to make Mickey more solidified as like trying to do like higher tier crime. It's kind of what I'm thinking.
More of a criminal syndicate kind of
yeah, more syndicate vibes, and then have another character that's just straight up like fucking around. What about you, Trav? What are you cooking up?
For RP.
Yeah, what do you want to share? What can you leak?
I don't have any leaks. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I have no fucking clue. I'm just kind of. I don't really have a plan.
I mean, dude, Onyx is dropping tomorrow. What are you gonna play? What's the character? He's
There's no way you don't have a plan. There's no way.
Now we have to tune in to find out.
Saturday? No, I legit. What do you mean? I mean,
what time is streaming Saturday? What time is streaming
Saturday?
It's Saturday. I don't even know what time the server drops at.
He's hiding something.
I'm going fishing. You know what, dude? I just moved like 2 miles away from Saab, and he won't even hang out with me.
That's not true at all. Okay.
Which part?
The last part.
The night. You had to think about the moving or the hanging out. All right, Saab, what are you cooking up then?
For me, I am gonna do something where I take my RDR character Leo, Flax, and he permaed in Red Dead, right? So I recorded that. So he's gonna get shocked into the GTA universe and waking up in there. And then for Krim, I'm gonna do my Arabic character, Malik Jamil.
Nice. Oh, that's gonna be sick.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you're gonna literally have him be like the Red Dead character in that, like,
so it's the time period. The opening is gonna start with him basically waking up or getting killed in Red Dead, and then waking up in the GTA universe basically, and then loads into it.
That's kind of spicy, actually. I like that.
You know, I'm surprised you didn't ask the question. Man, I should write your questions for you, Blau.
Yeah, go. What question do you wish? What question do you wish I asked?
Thoughts on people having a memory wipe for a new server. You know what I mean? Like, that's a spicy question. Memory wipe versus like, right? You know what I mean? Memory wipe versus no memory wipe versus.
Oh, I think they should force it.
Yeah, but okay. So that being said, everybody's just going to go back and hang out with the same exact people.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I don't know, like, this is one of the weirdest takes from viewers that I just don't get. Where they're like, oh my God, they're just gonna go and hang out. It's like, yeah, because that's like their friends who they spend a lot of their day with, who they want to hang out with. Like, what do you like? What you want me to go into your work and make you go and hang out with the people at your work that you don't want to hang out with? The fuck, bro? Like, when I worked at Riot, I had a group of people that I hung out with. When I transferred over to the R&D team, I still hung out with those people because I liked them. What do you want me to do? Go and not, like, that's so bizarre.
But then what's the point of it? But then what's the point of a memory wipe?
New stories. Might have same people coming together and role playing with each other.
I feel like I'll be honest. I feel like it's hard to enforce. You don't do a memory wipe, but you ask people to. Man, it's so tough. Because you don't do a memory wipe, but you ask people to basically start from the beginning. So like you could be like making references from other cities is also weird. I don't know, man. I don't know what the middle ground is on that one.
You like, just gotta do what I do, which is, you just forget what happened like a month ago and genuinely don't fucking remember.
I actually don't remember.
Like,
yeah.
Yo, sorry, wait, who are you?
But that's not a character. That's not your character flaw. That's a Mehdi flaw.
No,
because you wouldn't be like, yo, we met in a different city. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's kind of OOC. I don't know.
I mean, like, I mean, again, I'm like, you can also just you can literally criticize me and just say that I'm like a bad role player for that reason. But like,
no, that's not. I mean, that's an open. Like, I don't think there's I guess I don't think there's a right answer for that. Right? My opinion is either way. I'm just kind of fucking. I was just kind of get the conversation going, right? Because it's like, yeah, you know, you can force people to wipe their memories, but then they go back and hang out with the same people and understand. You're saying like, hey, like, you know, maybe there's new stories, but what new stories wouldn't come of that situation? I guess looking at it objectively, like I don't have an opinion. I personally don't have an opinion one way or the other. I could give two fucks, you know?
I like, listen, I 100% think there should be a memory wipe, but I mean, and maybe it's like people will eventually end up in different groups, but maybe the power dynamics in the groups are different. Maybe the sorts of operations they're doing this time are different. Like, I think things can be different. Or maybe it's different, like it's different characters that they want to end up rolling with, right? Like, it's complicated. Yeah, I think like in an ideal world, it's a memory wipe and people go and create incredibly new stories with different people. But like, there is just the reality that's like, I mean, these are people that you're hanging out with, and like, you know, sometimes you just you gravitate towards the people you're comfortable with.
I think what you can fix that instead of memory wipe, set a lore for the city, and that way it sets a tone for the whole entire world, right?
I think that's good. That works.
So people follow the lore of the city, right?
Yeah, elaborate on that, because I think I understand what you're saying, but I'm kind of.
Maybe the city happens in X amount of years. It's not really, after 5 years or 10 years. I don't know. I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think on the spot. It's really hard.
Yeah, so it's like a couple years went by, so you may have forgotten someone. Is that what you're getting at, Ssaab?
Yeah, something like that. Or you can remember them, but it's been years. I don't know. It's something to just spice up the story, so it's not the same shit.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
I feel like memory wipes are just. I personally don't like them. I definitely like the time lapse thing that you mentioned, Ssaab, and I think it's perhaps a flaw in the way that like I play my characters, which is if I genuinely remember, it's hard for me. I don't know how to, when I play my character, it's not method acting, but like I really know what that character is, how he feels towards different people, all the interactions, you know what I mean? So like even my attitude between my character and someone else is always just there. So, but it's very difficult for me to forget the past with the characters without there being a reason for it.
Correct. Right. And then it becomes awkward because you're thinking I'm gonna forget, and they're thinking I'm gonna remember you, and it's like an awkward conversation where you're both on the same page. I
feel like having people on the same page is the most important part. And like, and I think, Trav, I have a better answer to your question, which is kind of like, I think there's like a little bit of room for both. Yeah, people are going to gravitate towards the same groups, but I do think maybe a memory wipe encourages people to also role play with other people. I do think role playing with other people is good. Like an example of this is like I even said how my role play improved by doing all the stuff on Wild RP. But like, let's be honest. When I'm on Mickey and I randomly run into this guy in the parking lot, and I fucking hear Z-Tark's voice talking to me and like some schmuck new to the city, right? Like I'd be lying if I said that like that anyone else, if they had ran into me there, I would have treated them the same, right? I heard Z-Tark's voice. I'm like, oh shit, this is the guy who I loved role playing with on Wild RP, and so I'm like, I'm gonna give him more attention. But I'm not gonna be like, yo, welcome to the fucking. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna fucking put this guy through the ringer, make him do some dumb fucking shit. I did. I made him try to rob the clean manor. Almost got him killed. That was funny as fuck, right? But again, I think I did that because that was someone who was new. I got to experience, and that was someone where I'm like, I interacted with someone new.
Yeah, I actually really like Ssaab's like that whole fucking time lapse thing, because there was such like a weird, like I remember running into Mehdi and beginning at I think 3.0, and Mehdi being like, he's like, do I know you? Like trying to verify, like, hey, did you use this time to wipe your memory versus
dude,
like going around
and then, right?
Yeah, it was like,
I remember this.
You're like, do I know you? Have we met before? And it's like, oh, it's kind of just like this whole thing that everyone, and I mean, it was like I ended up having to do that, and it was like, then running into like other people, and they're like, I've never met you before, and you're like, oh, yeah, I don't know. But then, what were you saying?
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just like running into like random people and not having them like remember versus remembering versus, and the grudge thing is like, I guess in 3.0 it was like, hey, you're not allowed to have the same grudges, which is like, I don't know. It's like the whole grudge thing that's a weird one, right? Because I think the way I look at kind of like I look at NoPixel and stuff is like everybody I role play with the server on. I mean, granted, there's people like I'm not like a fan of, you know what I mean? But it's like they're still my fucking coworkers, like you were talking about with Riot and stuff earlier,
Yeah.
And it's like I don't necessarily hold a grudge, but
I have a story about the memory wipe, which I'm sure some of you have heard this before, but it was a very awkward one. I came and played Brian for the first time. I think it was day one of NoPixel. I think there was like this huge PD meeting, and I came in. Brian no longer has any kids. He doesn't have a dad. He doesn't have whatever. And I walk in, and me and Dan Faley have already agreed, like because he had hit me up. He's like, "Hey, dude, are we doing the memory web thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do that, with all my characters." And I walk in there, and it's like, "Oh, hey, what's your name?" "Oh, my name's Dan." And or we were like figuring it out on the spot. Like I think he had asked me like if he knows me, and I was like, "Oh no, oh your name's Dan." It's like, okay. So he sits down, and I'm standing there. People are like filtering in, and then all of a sudden, Cop Leone comes in. "Hey, Dad." Banana's character, like, "Hey, Dad." It's like literally 4 or 5 of like Brian's, like, and so they all came in at the same time. We're like, "Hey, Dad," and he got baked in, and Dan turns around and goes, "What the fuck, man?"
Yeah, that shit.
He was the only person that got the memo, man. Nobody else got the memo but him.
Oh, bro.
That shit was funny.
Guys, we have just so you know, Game Awards are in 18 minutes. I said we'd wrap before then. All right, Trav, what juicy questions did I not ask that you wanted to ask, Trav? We're gonna get to this section.
I don't think. I mean, fuck, dude. There's no really juicy questions right now.
I think we're in an exciting time, and everyone's just kind of like wait and see. I mean,
Yeah, I'm sure I can think of something, but.
We'll do rapid fire questions from the chats.
Oh, that's
Mehdi,
okay.
you're still streaming, yeah? No, but I'm
Yeah.
Okay, from the chats, rapid fire questions. Go, and you guys just snipe questions you want to answer and ignore the ones you don't.
Well, everybody's going to be biased. No, I don't think there's.
That's why I answer the softball ones. When is Blau going to go to Texas and fish with Trav?
Oh,
I would actually love to go fishing with you if I were going to Texas.
Okay, update on that. I got the boat out here. I've been going out with. I went out one time with Dan, the CEO.
Yeah, you went with Dan, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what I'm trying to do now is get like a whole kind of like podcast. I have like that IRL set up, but I want to do like a whole podcast thing from the boat. So anytime you want to come out, I mean, so many people have fucking houses here too. Like there's no shortage of places for you to stay, or I mean, you could even where we are, there's so many hotels as well.
That's crazy. You guys can afford houses out there. Okay. All right, guys, pick your questions. Snipe them.
Ooh. Medical role play.
Ooh.
I think medical role play always gets overlooked.
Needs to come back, man. Please.
I'd love to see like cool mechanics where like, I don't know. I like, something where like, dude, I messed up. This doctor who's like learned to specialize or whatever in something can make me feel better, and I feel encouraged to want to go for checkups and whatnot.
Can you imagine if you had like private doctors that were more excel at like doing surgeries for like bullet holes versus like hospital
imagine
care?
You had to call up like let's say a fucking shootout happened with the cop, and you're like, yo, we'd like got to save our boy, and you have to fucking call up a private doctor who knows like not like a little bit of like almost like a criminal doctor. That'd be sick. Then not going to grandma's, like actually finding someone who'll be like, yeah, I'll fucking do it. Like that'd be dope.
Yeah, dude.
Someone said server economy issues. Was asking about that. My takes just remove people's shit. Take their dude. I'm sorry.
100%.
If you're a fucking criminal and you buy a fucking Ferrari and then you use your Ferrari in a getaway from a fucking vault, then you lose
5,
the
10
Ferrari.
times. You lose that shit, man.
10 times.
No.
Maybe you put a balance on it. Maybe you put a balance on it.
No, I'm saying like use it that often. At that point, come on. At that point, you gotta give it up. Like just
I'm
like
not
how
saying,
much more, right?
Bro, I'm just saying, even if it wasn't 5, 10 times, you just used it once.
Bro, remember in 2.0? Remember in 2.0, Bass, where people were afraid to use their cars because of strikes?
Do we have strikes in 2.0? No, we can seize them in 2.0.
Yeah,
right?
You could seize them in 2.0. Like I
the
had
judges
my
produced, right? Yeah.
Cheddar's race car was not used for gang shootouts at all because you know what I mean. It was like that was a race car. It was meant for racing.
Yeah, I mean in 2.0, people had war cars, had race cars, and had sports cars.
That was like you had your cruising car, and then you had your race car, and you had your war car, and it was like
Yeah, and you lost all the upgrades. Remember when it got impounded? Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe not
that
as
was like
crazy
20 grand.
Yeah, maybe not as crazy as like one time, but
man, I can't tell you how many shootouts happened because of upgrades.
I remember when I smoked your ass with my bulletproof car, dude.
How's the DOJ on Prodigy? That's an interesting. So this is actually something that you may not know. Prodigy, to get charged with a crime in Prodigy, they've got guilty, not guilty, and oh crap, what's the third one that people can do? It's an IRL too.
Plea agreement.
No, not plea agreement. No contest.
Oh,
Yeah, no, they're not gonna fight it basically.
Charges are not based on beyond a reasonable doubt unless it's a capital offense. It's a beyond a preponderance.
which is
So
like
the burden of proof is much lower.
Probably did it. You're
Yeah.
getting charged.
So like it's like they have it right now. Like you're suspected of like murder, not your, we're charging you murder and we suspect you of killing somebody, right?
Well, if it's a capital punishment like murder, then it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
But if you're found to like, if you busted into, like, if you're caught like robbing a store, or like, someone's robbing a store, and you're found in a vehicle, sort of matching the description, you're getting charged with it.
Yeah. I kind of like that balance. I think reasonable doubt for just the mechanics nature of a lot of stuff makes it like, I think in theory, if we were to apply reasonable doubt to like court cases in any of the roleplay servers, I literally don't think anyone could ever truly get
Guilty.
You'd have to have some crazy, it'd literally have to have like just insane evidence to get them actually guilty. It's really hard.
Unless you witness it, most of it's circumstantial, right?
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Should class 2s come back for 4.0? Day one, bruh.
Hell yeah. I think class 2s are sick. I think what I didn't like in 3.0 is it's like if you're fucking doing a meth run, you're like some crazy shit's going. It's like, yo, we got to pull out some fucking big guns for this shit. Okay. Or it's like, yo, we're going to do a vault heist. Shit might go fucking crazy. We need to pull this shit out, right? I think what I hated was the fucking gangster. So I think I was Mayor's Mickey at the time. I used to tweet out just to throw shade at people, but it was like, okay, you're shirtless, you have tattoos on your back, you have a faded haircut, baggy shorts, masked up, bandana mask up, and then you have a class 2 on your back. That was like the gangster starter pack. You're ride or die for your crew. You don't fuck with cops. And it was so like, that made it feel like GTA Online, where there was just random people running around shirtless with fucking class 2 on their back. Like,
Yep.
so I think class 2 should all they should be in, early or whenever, but I'm actually okay if they
I was joking about, I was memeing about any day one thing. No, I definitely think class 2 should be like way down the line.
Yeah, it should be like an N tier kind of progression for sure.
Yeah. I guess I'm saying I actually don't even mind if they were there early, as long as they're there early for the right RP scenarios.
I feel like when class 2s are, when you first see a class 2, the feeling of like, holy fuck, that's an AK.
Yeah.
Is like exciting. And the longer a server is able to maintain pistols being the de facto, I think extends the excitement of the next level up, right? Where even like someone having an Uzi for the first time is like, oh shit, like that oh shit moment, not just for the role player, but even the audience.
I'll build on. I don't. You know what it is? I think it's the consequences that come along with it. Like in 2.0 again. As much as I hate to go back and compare to whatever, because it's like you can't change it. But it was like 2.0. You had a class 2 on your back. You were getting raided. You know what I mean? You shot somebody with an AK. It was like you were getting raided immediately. Where in 3.0,
that's how it should be, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean in 3.0, like it's, or I shouldn't say in 3.0, but even now, I don't think that. I mean, I'm not sure what it is, but even now, there's not a lot of cops that are trying to go around and push raids, like criminal raids on people, or not criminal raids, but like raids on people for situations they're involved in.
Yeah. Also, obviously, sometimes the reason why it's hard to pull that off is because there's so much going on. You don't even have time.
Yeah.
Just
100%.
stop and just focus on that, right?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. I think that's one of the things. I think people just get fucking lazy is another thing.
That's true. I mean, that's the thing about like having that discipline and standard. They have to bring every single day because if you slack off, then it's gonna fall apart.
Yeah, 100%.
You like serious strict RP or more silly laid back?
That's a really good question.
I think I'm gonna be a psycho and be like, if there was ever a place where it was like where everything was just, I don't want to say like simulated, but to the point where like even breaking into a bank was like almost inconceivable and was like really actually felt like crazy to do. I'd go to that level of seriousness if that was ever available, just because of the excitement of it, almost simulation like Monk as.
I just want banks to have an alarm when they go off. Can we get that?
What do you mean?
Wait, don't they today?
No, they don't. Do they? I've never heard an alarm go off.
Oh, there's just like, oh, you mean like a little alarm, not like a ping, but like
yeah,
a,
like the like whenever like
What about
Oh,
there was on the lasers and remember that shit on the vault?
Yeah, I think it used to have. I don't think if it. Like I want to see that. Like I want. Like you should be immersed as a criminal doing crime. That's what I want to see as well. Like it just shit like that would be cool.
Yeah, it's I agree. That would be cool.
my chat saying you're leaking, Ssaab. Is that? All right, guys, you heard it here first. 4.0.
That is on Amish RP. That's on the Amish RP, by the way.
Oh, wow. Dude, wait, guys. Why
when you take the wagon and then you go in there, the chickens fly off like an alarm bell. The rooster goes off.
This is when
Amish
RP clears all
this.
these.
This is where someone clips it and hyper analyzes Saab's every movement to see whether it was a leak or not.
Damn. All right, well, guys, we have like 5 minutes till the Game Awards. I think we covered this pretty well. I think we could go like, man, I should do a whole other episode for. I do want to do a whole other one for like what we want for like GTA 6 roleplay, the future of role. That's a whole. Dude, we could go into a whole other.
It's a whole season right there. That's a whole season.
Yeah, actually, it's a whole season of the RP podcast. But the RP podcast is back. We will be live every other week. As I'm actually hopefully role playing in. Thank you to Ssaab, Trav, and Mehdi. That's twitch.tv/Ssaab, twitch.tv/TravPiper, and twitch.tv/DasMehdi. Guys, any final thoughts?
I love roleplay. I love role playing with you guys.
Nice.
I wish Ssaab didn't hate me and would go get food with me.
No, that is not true. Sorry, I'll hit you up, Trav. I'm sorry, I'm busy. Okay. For me, my final thoughts. I hope everybody succeeds. I wish everybody the best of luck, and I'm really excited for the future, man.